Hello and welcome to UNSW Canberra Oval, Manuka Oval if you prefer, here in the nation's capital for an intriguing game in the North East Australian Football League round 15 this afternoon. It's the Canberra Demons versus the Redland Bombers. My name is Chris Coleman, and alongside me on this quite chilly Canberra day, Eddie Williams. Eddie, before we start, a quick look at the weather if we may.
Well, Chris, right now we're sitting on 7 degrees here in Canberra, but it feels like, when you factor in the humidity, the wind chill, it feels like minus 2.2. These are not conditions that the Redland Bombers will be accustomed to up in Queensland, but this should be a good game of footy today. 8th versus 9th. Both sides desperate to get back on the winners list, try to kickstart the back end of their seasons. Canberra, of course, had that thrilling draw with Sydney Uni at Phillip Oval last week. That came after 3 straight losses for the Canberra Demons, and Redland has lost 4 games in a row, including a 41-point loss to the Gold Coast last week. So 2 teams today very keen to taste victory for the first time in at least a month, and if we're lucky or unlucky, they might even taste a bit of snow. That is how cold it is in Canberra today. And
there is certainly not too far from Canberra, very, very low cloud off to our northwest. There have been reports of snow on some of the hills around the city, and the wind, I don't want to over-dramatise this, by the way, but the wind is pushing the weather in from that direction. So it has happened here in Canberra where the snow will develop late in the afternoon, and we might just see some this afternoon. But that is a story for another time. This afternoon, a few stories to talk about, and we say congratulations today to Matt Thompson making his return to NEAFL footy, playing for the Redland Bombers, his first game, and I think it's over a year since he's turned out, and it's game 199 for him, so we wish him luck this afternoon.
And also on the Redland side, a debutant today, Chris. Bruce Reville makes his debut for Redland in the number 25 jersey, a product of the Lions Academy, recruited from Harvey Bay. And from the Canberra Demons' perspective, Mitch Maguire, one of their co-vice captains, plays his 50th game for the club today, originally from Mirrol in the Riverina and recruited from the Giants Academy. A glistening CV that he has. He was the NEAFL Rising Star last season, the Demons' best and fairest winner, the player of the finals. Mitch Maguire back in the side after missing with injury last week, playing his 50th game today, a week after his housemate Mitch Hardy played his 50th game. A short time ago, the Canberra captain Aaron Bruce won the toss. He elected to kick to the right of your screen to the Manuka end. Redland will be going to the left of your screen to the swimming pool end in this opening quarter.
The siren sounds as we get underway on Saturday afternoon. In fact, it's still officially just Saturday morning here, but we'll be getting into it in just a moment. Now, I don't have an umpire number 7, so there's obviously been a change in the umpiring panel for this afternoon. We'll get into that in a moment, but we've got a whistle here as the free kick goes to Redland. They play on with the advantage. The ball goes into their forward line. Target there was Sol Cormick. He couldn't get there. Ball bouncing around a little bit. I think that's Matt Thompson who comes through, gets his first touch on return to footy. Kick comes, a clearing kick from the Demons, but it only goes as far as Peter Yagmore, the former Collingwood player. He cuts it off for the Bombers. His kick in towards the forward line is then ill-directed, bounces short, picked up by Pake. Pake taps it around into the path of, I think that may be Bruce who's got it, and it's been smothered and kicked out over the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in for half-forward flank for the Redland Bombers.
It'll be interesting to keep an eye on the battle in the ruck today because Craig Malone, the Redland ruckman, is ranked number 1 in the NEAFL for hitouts this year. He had 57 against Canberra in round 2, but Josh Maynard didn't play that day. Josh Maynard, the Ainslie triple premiership ruckman, of course, in the side for Canberra today. So that should be a good battle between the 2 big blokes, Maynard and Malone. We see them go at it again here near the half-forward flank for Redland. Knocked down decisively by Malone, but captured by Maguire, the 50-gamer, who kicks it beyond the wing. Couldn't find a target. An opportunity for Redland to reload through Williams. Kicks them towards half-forward. An ill-directed kick is chopped off by Matt Vardaniger. He's got Tom Highmore on short, one of a number of inclusions for the Canberra Demons this week. Tom Highmore back in, along with Mitch Maguire, along with Riley Budd, along with Angus Baker, and along with Aaron Bruce. Some of those big names that were missing in last week's draw, all back in the side for Canberra this afternoon. Guy Richardson has the footy on the broadcast side of the ground. He kicks to a contest beyond the wing. Harry Carr couldn't really get towards the ball, but he knocks it forward. It comes out now to Lucas Moline, who arches the back, fires it goal from outside 50. He's put it away to the left. It won't score. And we'll have a boundary throw-in in the forward pocket for the Demons.
Moline not backing his pace there. He's got plenty of it, but again, maybe he knows a bit more about the man who was hot on his hammer there and decided to just ping away. Ball stays deep in attacking territory for the Canberra Demons. Can't get much deeper in attack, really. 1 metre around from the goalpost. Ball comes back in, and it's 19 on 19 in terms of the ruckman. Oh, no, actually, it's Harry Carr has moved into the ruck. He gets the best of it, taps it around, comes off the back of the pack. Short hand pass comes out then for Guy Richardson. Too hot to handle. Ball coming free. Comes back around now onto the chest of Mitch Hardy. Hardy turns around. Almost unsighted, I suggest there, Eddie. He's just snapped it through from about 40 out, and the first goal of the day goes to the home side to Mitch Hardy.
That's good play there by the Demons. They're first inside 50. Maline's kick didn't score, but they created that opportunity from the stoppage, and Mitch Hardy capitalising. He had a very good game last weekend and on the scoreboard early here. 2 minutes and 40 seconds played in the opening quarter. It's the Demons 1 straight 6. Redland yet to score.
Now the Canberra Demons, of course, with that draw last week against Sydney Uni, they still remain locked in a battle with Sydney Uni for superiority at the end of the season, and percentage may come into it. Canberra need this afternoon, if they do get away, they need to just keep putting on the pressure. We've seen them, I won't say so much they put the cue in the rack, but we certainly have seen them in the past give away points late in the game. So they really do need to keep the pressure up during the course of this game during the afternoon. Now, I've got a couple of the umpire names there, although they may have just changed their jerseys. The jerseys may have gone the wrong way. We'll give them a credit a wee bit later on this afternoon. No real ascendancy gained out of the middle there. Phil Cast, the playing coach for the Redland Bombers, the last man up, but he returns the ball back to, I think that is Joey O'Brien, the umpire, and the ball now back into play, and it's a little bit of 1-2 work from big to little to big as we come back into the forward line now for the Bombers. Flying for Canberra there was Spooner in defence. He couldn't get hold of it. It's been taken off the back of the pack now. In space is Sam Martin. They won't go for him. Now calling for it is Smout. Martin again runs into space, as does Maguire. So a little bit of indecision from Paik about where to send the balls. It comes down and eventually is taken by the Redland Bombers, Stephen Mills. And he just turns around and sends it back into their forward line. But again, playing in front, the Canberra Demons in defence. And Paik gets it, sends it around the outside. Gets it just to Harry Carr in the field of play. And has Paik got new boots this week? I think he has. So there we go. There's been a few changes. Has it gone out on the full, has it?
Yep.
Well, there we go. The boundary umpire calling it out on the full. And so it'll come back in courtesy of a free yet again to Stephen Mills. And we go back from whence we came towards the hot spot. Ball taken in the marking contest by Highmore. Good pack mark from him. Who's he got on his outside? That'd be Smout as he waits. Looks around, goes across to field to play on the other side of the ground. Be interesting to see how much play actually winds up on this far side of the ground because it is very windy here. Harper was the target, winds up clean bowled, gets past him, maybe able to pick it up by running onto it. No, kick comes downfield instead in the direction of fall. It's over his head and Yagmore takes it, probably read it better on the breeze, turns around, sends his side back in towards centre half forward. And I think that may have been Cameron who sent it around, and he's put it onto the path of Sol Cormac. Cormac has it now, probably a little bit too far out to score, decides instead to go in again for the hot spot, about 20 out directly in front of the goal. And I reckon that's Hamilman who's come in underneath it, man who knows his way around the forward end of the ground and has scored plenty of goals in the past, and he's got a fairly easy shot coming up here, Eddie.
He does, Chris. Former Brisbane Lions listed player and the NEAFL's leading goal kicker last season. He knows where the goals are, and this should be a pretty straightforward set shot for Matt Hamilman.
I did mention there that that's the first time for him when Canberra trying to run it out from defence there. We'd seen play on the other side of the ground. It doesn't look like there's a lot of wind around today, but we do know that there is a fair bit of wind around. So we should see more play on this camera side, grandstand side, sheltered side of the ground. But we come back to the shot for Hamilman now. He keeps it low and under the breeze, but it's off target and through for just a minor score. So Canberra, after 6 minutes of play at Manuka Oval, 6, Redland 1 here on NEAFL TV.
Tom Highmore with the kick-in duties for the Canberra Demons. He looks towards that outer side of the ground and just kicks it into the pocket, spots up a teammate in Angus Baker. Back in the side, a Rising Star nominee earlier this season, Angus Baker. He goes down the line to a contest. Canberra have the numbers. Aaron Bruce couldn't quite hold on to the mark. The ball's at ground level. The pack forms. Umpire waits to see what will happen. The ball's not coming out, and we will get a ball up between wing and half forward for Redland. We've gone 6.5 minutes here at Manuka. The Bombers going to the left of your screen in this first quarter. And a big inclusion for the Redland Bombers today with Phil Cast, their playing coach, back in the side. Unfortunately, Canberra's playing coach, Cade Klemke's out for the rest of the season with a knee issue. So we've got the playing coach against the non-playing playing coach today. An opportunity for Pollock to break away from the pack. Gives it off to Owen Orban. They're streaming forward in numbers. It comes to Cal Evans. He'll hand pass over the top to Harry Carr. And Harry Carr runs into the open goal.
Another one of the Canberra Demons players with new boots this week, Harry Carr, and doing the job with them quite nicely. And their second goal for the afternoon, they move on to 2 straight 12. The Redland Bombers have just the point, 7 minutes gone.
Reece Pollock's added a lot of pace to this Canberra side this year. A Marist College junior just was able to break away from the pack there, and they had so many numbers inside 50. Owen Orban, Carr, Martin was loose as well if Carr had wanted to give an extra hand pass. But we've seen that muck things up sometimes. Ask Tom Hickey in the West Coast Collingwood game last night. So Harry Carr doing the right thing. He's been arguably their key forward this season. And took the responsibility there of just running in and ramming home the goal.
Indeed. And you mentioned the Rising Star, the Canberra side racking up Rising Star nominations across the course of this NEAFL season so far, Eddie.
Yeah, Jared Osborne, who was, we thought, best on ground last week in the draw. He was named this round's Rising Star nominee. Haven't seen much of Osborne early doors in this match as Redland win the centre clearance. The kick comes towards the attacking edge of the square. Cormac couldn't quite bring it down. Demons have the numbers at the back of the pack. Cormac again threw himself in. There was Osborne laying a tackle. The ball spilled out to Maynard, who gives it off to Smout. Smout shrugs the tackle. Osborne tried to tap it over the back to Hardy. Fall will burst through. He's tackled immediately by Bartoli Simmons, and we'll get another ball up in the middle of Manuka Oval.
Interesting call. I thought Form may have been called to have had a couple of steps in there and maybe a chance to get rid of it, but he was piggybacking his opposite number. So ball goes up, comes again free for Canberra. I think it might be Hardy who's got the way with it, and it comes back to him now, sends the ball forward into the forward line. Carr is waiting and waiting. He's got all sorts of company, taps it to his own advantage, gets a little bit of tap on, puts the kick forward, but he was ill-directed from the word go, and it goes out of bounds about 2 metres to the left of the behind post. So it'll be the Bombers to bring the ball back in from the southern end, the Manuka Shops end of this Manuka Oval this afternoon, as Andrew Swan makes his return to the field of play, replacing Tom Fall, and the kick in. Well, it didn't even get back in, or it may have come back in momentarily, then goes out, and lonely spectator out in the cold and windy part of Manuka has to retrieve the ball. Canberra will bring it back in. So who will the target be? Well, it could be Harry Carr. It goes over his head. Looking for it on the ground was Swan, who's just come onto the ground. But instead it's cleared again by Redland, but just outside their 50. Now, I'm not sure if that's been called a mark. It has been called a mark, so just above the ground. And, geez, I reckon that might be Baker who's got it there.
Yep.
And if it's Baker, he might be another one in different coloured shoes from this week. They've all made some changes. Must have got a new mid-season deal. Is that Swan flying down there?
It is.
Only his second game back this season. Gets up, takes the mark. Now he'll be kicking from the pocket, almost kicking from the blue seats there for this, but he'll be kicking across the breeze.
Well, he kicked an extraordinary goal last week, which we thought might have sealed the game for Canberra from the 50-metre arc at the intersection with the boundary line. Can he kick one from a tough angle here?
Well, comes in with the right foot and sets it, aims it at the right post. It turns left off the breeze, as we mentioned, and it's through for a major. So the Canberra side, they're kicking well so far today. They've got 3 straight goals. That's a total of 18. Redland 1 point, 10.5 gone first quarter here. Round 15 NEAFL action. It's Chris Coleman and Eddie Williams bringing you all the game this afternoon here from the nation's capital, where it is just a tad chilly despite the sunny conditions. The Redland side ringing plenty of changes. I don't know if you'd want to come off, Ed.
No, you don't want to be stuck on the bench too much today. Look, Andrew Swan, the co-vice captain, hadn't played in 393 days for the Demons until last week as he fought back from an ACL injury, and he's had an enormous impact. I thought he was one of their best players last week with a couple of clutch goals. He's on the scoreboard again early today, and interesting to see Harry Carr being used here as the second string ruckman for the Demons. Malone won the hit out. Maguire pokes it forward for Canberra. Smout's trying to run onto it. He's tackled. Tries to give it off. Now it's hacked inside 50. Carr's chasing after it. He gathers. He shrugs the tackle. Harry Carr straightens up and misses to the left.
He's Mr. Cuswell to the left now this afternoon.
One which didn't score. That one through for a behind. The Demons 3-1-19. Redland 1 point.
Good signs for Canberra. Really, their attacking football starting to come together. They have had a very, very tough set of conditions over the past few weeks. Bruce was the target there, but I reckon it was Malone who got in with the punch. Superior height, setting the ball over the boundary line. So the throw-in to take place just outside the attacking 50 for the Canberra Demons. I'm just looking to try and see where Maynard has gone for Canberra. Is he still out there, Ed? He's disappeared very early.
I can see him on the bench. I reckon he might be on the phone talking to one of the... He was just on the phone there talking to one of the coaching staff.
It's unusual to see him take a break so early in the game, and the Demons giving up the ball to the Bombers at this stage, and they'll switch it around to the grandstand side. Short pass to Yagmore. He's got plenty of options to go for, and instead of going long, they go for the hand pass. Couple to aim at, and it's taken in front by Keneally. Jai Keneally now. If he'd looked to his left, he would have seen Justin Curry calling for it. He's still there calling for it. He goes longer than that, kicks it. Pretty ordinary kick, I think we can say, to Connor Owen-Orban. He just puts a little chip over the top, and Moline is clipped as he goes for the mark, and should be able to line up and take a shot here. Will line up and take a shot here from about 25, maybe 30 out by the time he takes it on a 45-degree angle. But you're really little uninspiring passage of play there from both sides, Ed.
A little lucky there for the Canberra Demons. Owen-Orban lucky to have the ball kicked straight to him, and his kick inside 50 wasn't the best, but a chop of the arms, and Lucas Moline gets a look at a set shot on goal. So it'll be Moline to kick from a 45-degree angle. He'll kick from probably around 40 metres out as he starts his approach and crosses the paint of 50, kicking towards the Manuka end. Oh, that's a horrible-looking kick. It's not going to make the distance. It'll be marked in the pocket, and Riley Corbett is going to have a shot on goal.
Well, that's why you always keep your head up and keep your eye on the ball, even when it's the easiest-looking shot. Always make sure there's somebody down there. And Riley Corbett, the beneficiary of that little excursion, kicked 2 crucial goals last week, both in the fourth quarter, and he continues his goal-kicking trend in recent play by putting that one through for a major, and Corbett goes into the book. And Canberra Demons going to 4-1-25, Redland 1 point. Some very worrying signs for the visitors early in this one.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Canberra certainly dominating field position early, and Riley Corbett just found himself in the right place at the right time there. He's another player that knows where the goals are. Kicked bags and bags of goals for Ganmain Grong Matong before the Canberra Demons recruited him to this season. I can't believe I just pronounced Ganmain Grong Matong correctly and stumbled over
right.
Canberra. But anyway, that puts the Canberra Demons out to a 24-point lead. So pretty ominous early. We're only midway through this opening quarter. The Demons 4-1 at 25, leading Redland just the one behind, as we're back in the middle with Malone set to go up in ruck against Maynard, who's come back onto the field after having a chat on the phone to the coach. Neither ruckman could get a hand on it there, but it was Maynard with the centre clearance. No, it was a throw. Josh Maynard pinged for throwing the ball to Alex Smout, so the ball will come back the way of the Redland Bombers. Looks like it'll be Cameron Spence to take the free kick in the centre. So an opportunity for the Bombers to try and create something from this clearance and try and get their first goal of the afternoon. The kick is towards the 2 ruckmen, Malone and Maynard. Maynard coming in with a decisive fist and knocking the ball over the boundary line. So it'll be thrown in underneath the Jack Fingleton scoreboard here at Manuka, just outside the 50-metre arc for Redland, and the boundary umpire, I think, has lost the ball. So
that's going to happen a bit this afternoon, unfortunately.
Have a little delay in play here as they try and get the ball. There's a lot of fingers being pointed.
You get it. No, you get it.
The boundary umpire is not keen to jump the fence. So Alex Smout is coming around. He's going to jump the fence. And he picks the ball up. He throws it back to the boundary umpire. This is riveting stuff.
Oh, this is just keep going, Ed. You're on a roll.
And we will eventually get the ball thrown back in, just in front of that beautiful old Jack Fingleton scoreboard, which has been covered up by an advertising hoarding this afternoon. The ball's over the boundary line again. Fortunately, it stays on the correct side of the fence. So we'll get another stoppage. Let's see if someone can try and break clear and move the ball away from this corner of the ground.
A scoreboard that doesn't get used to its fullest during the footy season, but certainly it was great to see a test match cricket here at Manuka last summer, and it was being used in all its glory as it used to be when it sat above the Melbourne Cricket Ground back in the 1970s. Still no advance on play here, as both sides are deciding the boundary line where they want to keep the ball.
Is there a magnet in that scoreboard?
There could be a leather magnet, perhaps. Let's have a. This will be the fourth throw in, and I think it's been taken away by Malone. Best of it for the Redland side, but well, once again, it's in the bottom of the pack, and that's umpire Dean Garraway going in.
This is better by Redland, locking the ball up and not allowing Canberra any space to move it away.
Problem is that Redland are not getting it into their own forward line, and Canberra have just got too many fleet of foot players to the left of your screen at the moment to really for the Redland side to be able to get away with it. As you see, one of those fleet of foot players now in Maguire, pick it up, turn around, tries to get a hand pass away. Still very congested here at centre half forward for the Bombers, and it'll be another ball up. And once again, Dean Garraway, the umpire, comes in and just says, no, we'll have another go at this. I've said it before. I'll say it again probably, but at some stage a game of football may just break out here this afternoon. But we're in this period of the game where the Redland side looking to try and stop the flow of Canberra Demons scoring. They have the ball at the moment now. It goes back into their forward line. Waiting underneath it there was Thompson. Couldn't get the ball. Too hot for him. Winds up with Vardaniga with the short hand pass. Puts it towards Pake, and then the kick is clearing, but only goes as far as it was Miller who had it for the Bombers, and he sends it into their forward line. But just look at this, there's just so many Canberra players back, and there's so many of them playing in front. And after a couple of hand passes with Harper able to stop, turn, goes left, puts it off to a teammate, gets the ball back, and now goes around the outside. It comes to Pake. Pake will turn around, gives it back to Harper again, who'll get leather poisoning if he's not careful. Could have gone on to Owen Orban, doesn't go that way. Instead it comes through hands and goes to Osborne. Osborne sending the ball back to, it was, I think, Vardaniga who wound up with it. Then ball goes into the forward line towards Fall, looks at Carr. Carr is all on his own, but the ball this time does not sit on the breeze. It falls short. Oh, it's hard to read here at the moment. And the Bombers, they bring it back around to the grandstand side, but it's picked up off the turf there after a wayward kick by Evans. He hand passes it away, gets it back, picked up off the ground by Spina. Spina sends it across to Carr. Carr goes short ball. I don't know if that was 15 or not. Doesn't matter because Smout has turned around, put the ball into the forward pocket across the face of goals. Owen Orban was the target. Gets it now. No, he doesn't. It goes free and it's a throw in. Oh, it's frenetic stuff at the moment.
And just keeping an eye on there on Justin Curry, who's on hands and knees at this contest. One of his teammates comes in to check if he's all right. Looks like a few trainers are running onto the ground in the direction of Justin Curry for Redland. So we'll keep an eye on that. As the ball's thrown back in, it's Andrew Swan in ruck this time against big Craig Malone. Redland with the clearance. They're able to clear the ball nearly all the way to the wing. So an opportunity for the Bombers to take a deep breath and wait for players to stream forward, because everyone more or less was in the Canberra Demons forward half of the ground. Riley Budd looks to be reading that one pretty well. Just used his body, allowed Vardaniga the opportunity to tag the mark, but he couldn't hold on. And again, we'll get a boundary throw in that corner of the ground between wing and half forward for Redland, as we see Maynard getting to this ruck contest to go up against Craig Malone. The ball's thrown back into play. Maynard gets his way in front, knocks it down. He chases his own ball. In the end, left it for, it might have been Smout. Bud has to lay a tackle for Canberra, and in the end, we get another stoppage on that side of the ground in front of that Jack Fingleton scoreboard. And Chris Jack Fingleton was both a journalist and a cricketer.
In the days when that was very hard to do.
And that is why it is appropriate, because he was a press gallery journalist here in Canberra, it's appropriate that the Jack Fingleton scoreboard now lives at Manuka Oval. Here's an opportunity for Matt Vardaniga, who's racking up plenty of disposals early in the match. Kicks the Demons out of defence, couldn't find a target, and so Redland again will try and work the ball back in. They're using it a lot by hand in this passage of play, the Bombers. They come all the way back to half-back with a pretty wayward-looking kick that Clay Cameron's going to have to chase. He gathers, he kicks it towards the wing, and it's out of play. It'll be thrown in right on centre wing. It's the Demons by 24 points as we tick into time on.
Just behind where play is at the moment, that Barland's higher tent that's sitting there, yes. That gives you an indication as to just how strong the wind is getting here. That was almost flaccid, the frilly stuff on the front of that tent at the start of the game. So it really has picked up, and we're starting to see a bit on the trees as well. So it's starting to blow in a bit, and I suspect the clouds are starting to come in as well. So it might get ordinary here later on this afternoon. Good play, though, for the Bombers as Cormac comes out with the mark, puts it across to the forward, the centre half forward spot. We're waiting for it. Well, it's hammer time. Matt Hamilman comes in, gets to the mark, and he's going to be taking a shot from about 40 out this time, directly in front. He's had one shot already today, which was from about 10 metres closer in. And he speared it badly to the left, so he'll know, having had a sighter, if you like, he'll know what he's got to do. The wind is picking up. He's kicking into it. It's blowing across from his left to his right. He aims at the left goal post and it curves back nicely for a major. Matt Hamilman gets his first and his team's first for the afternoon. And the Redland Bombers, they strike back. They are 1-1-7. The Canberra Demons 4-1-25. 21 and a half gone in the opening quarter.
A very important goal there for Redland. And look, we saw it at Phillip Oval last week. We thought the Canberra Demons were out of the match in the opening quarter when Sydney Uni went out to a 4-goal lead. But Canberra was able to work their way back into that game. And in the end, perhaps could have won. They came away with a draw. So you cannot write Redland off just because they coughed up the first 4 goals. And good play by Matt Hamilman. He learnt from his earlier shot. He judged the win better the second time round, and he directed it perfectly through for a goal. So with nearly 22 minutes gone, it's Canberra 4-1-25. Redland with their first goal move up to 1-1-7. And we're back in the middle with Maynard and Malone getting ready to go at it as the umpire just sets himself to bounce the footy in the centre of Manuka Oval. Slightly favoured Craig Malone, who knocked it down, but it was sharked by Alex Smout. He goes by hand, and the kick now comes towards Richardson, who's lurking at the half-forward line, shrugs the tackle, has to feed the hand pass backwards. Maguire goes with a centering ball towards Bruce. Bruce couldn't juggle the mark. Harry Carr crumbs the pack, and Harry Carr runs in and kicks his second.
Well, we've seen Harry Carr on the set piece a couple of times. We've seen him on the receiving end. This time he's just come through, sharked the crumbs, taken a couple of steps and bang, aimed it straight at the goal umpire. And it's gone through for his second and Canberra's 5th. And they're back to that 4-goal margin, 24 points to the break. They lead 31-7.
He must be a very difficult player to play on, Harry Carr, because he's got enough height to be able to take strong marks, but he's got the agility to be able to crumb the pack like that. And we've seen him run in and score 2 goals from very close range. We've also seen him in the ruck. So Harry Carr causing all sorts of headaches for Phil Carse and the Redland Bombers in this opening quarter.
Dare I say it, but Carr is very good in traffic.
He is good in traffic, Chris, and his acceleration has been excellent so far this afternoon.
I wonder what his miles per gallon are. Ball back down in the centre of the ground, and flying high that time was Malone. Got the tap away. I think it might be Franks who's there face down in the turf with the ball underneath him. It was. So we'll get another ball up here. 3 metres from where the initial one was, and again it is a one by Malone. He's having a very good afternoon in the ruck, but again it's Canberra who wind up with it. Baker trying to control it, can't. It goes now into the forward line. Underneath it is that Hamilman again. I think it may be. It is. He's picked it up, and he's just going to have a shot from here. Well, can't really say that you blame him. He is the sharpshooter. This one will be straight into the breeze, Ed, so he's just got to aim it straight. And we'll do so. Don't need to tell you much more about it. You can see where he is from the junction of the lines behind him. Comes in, right foot, awkward, and it curves back a little bit early. And at the moment, it's the Canberra Demons 5-1-31. Matt Hamilman and Redland 1-2-8.
They're trying to find their way back into this game, Redland, and they have been better in the past 10 or 15 minutes, and Hamilman clearly is going to be their main avenue to goal this afternoon. There's Harry Carr again taking a strong mark overhead. He's doing it at both ends of the field so far in this opening quarter, Harry Carr. He drives the ball towards the wing where Andrew Swan and Mitch Hardy were waiting. I think it bounced off Mitch Hardy's head. He chases it out towards the boundary line, lays a tackle on Sebastian Rogers, and the ball goes out of play in front of the interchange benches, in front of our commentary position, and in front of a small but passionate crowd of Canberra Demons fans who are here at Manuka Oval on a very cold afternoon. Boundary umpire throws it back in. Maynard starts in front. He takes it out of the ruck, throws it on the boot, kicks it towards half forward. Moline was going back with the flight. Bombers have numbers, but Hardy came in, got a hand on it. Rogers was there as well. Swans applying a bit of pressure for Canberra. It's knocked forward again to Hardy. He's immediately tackled, trying to barge his way through, but he can't. And it'll be thrown up just outside the 50-metre arc for the Canberra Demons.
Harry Carr, 6 kicks, 2 marks already this afternoon and 2 goals. He is having a day out in this first quarter. Ball goes up, tap towards the Canberra Demons' advantage. I think it may have been Harper who was in there underneath it. Kick goes to no one in particular, bounced around a couple of times. That might have been McGannon who was underneath it for the, it was the other fella. It was a Cormac who was underneath it and got away for a moment there. But again, it's just really scrappy stuff from this Redland side. Ball back in the bottom of the pack, dragged in. And And umpire does say holding the ball. We saw a holding the ball call very late last week, didn't we, Ed? Which I don't know whether you've gone back and watched that.
I have.
Gee,
yes.
It was a tough call, wasn't it? It was there, but it was
the
a
right
tough.
call.
It was the right call, but gee, it was a tough call on him. Now this time it is McGannon for the Bombers as he sends the ball, looking to try and find Reville, but he couldn't get it. Bounces clear of him, and again we've got 2 or 3 players coming together on the edge of the centre square. Sun has vanished here, Eddie. That's not a good sign, by the way. And suddenly it has dropped to a couple of degrees, so it's cooling down here. Ball goes back up. Where are we at? 26.5 gone in the first quarter. And coming out towards Williams, the only man on the field with a number higher than 40. So he's easy to pick as we've got his jumper. Was it his jumper being held in there, Eddie? Not sure if it was him who wound up with the free kick. It is indeed. I'm trying to think who else wears number 41. Peter Rhodes, the only one who comes to my mind at AFL level. But the Bombers are once again on the attack into their forward line. It's falling towards Hamilman. He turns around to his left, gives him a chance to get settled. And boy, oh boy, for a snapshot, where's he kicked that from? About 47. It's gone through post high into the wind. Now he's gone offline, but it's a powerful old kick. And has he still kicked the entire team score, Eddie?
Yes.
139 for Matt Hamilman. And Canberra 5-1-39 as the Demons, they rebound and look to see if they can get more points on the board before the quarter-time break.
So we're at the attacking edge of the centre square for Redland as they go inside 50 again. A high ball. Pake's underneath it. He's nudged under it, but did well to hold his position, Alex Pake. Knocked it towards Maguire. He's getting plenty of the footy early. That'll be at least disposal number 9 for Mitch Maguire, the 50-gamer today. It's taken over the boundary line there by Jordan Harper. And again, we'll get a throw in that pocket of the ground between wing and half forward for Redland, who are just slowly working their game back into this contest as we approach quarter time. And really, Matt Hamilman is the focal point. He's their only scorer, and he's the man that needs to kick accurately to give Redland a chance of winning, or at least making a contest out of this game. The ball's kicked to the wing. It went through the hands of Reece Pollock. So a turnover now, and another opportunity there. Williams' kick is a high one. It goes out of bounds on the full. It goes over the fence, and someone is going to have to jump the fence. Alex Smout doesn't look like he wants to do it again.
And he
waits for Cal Evans, the younger player, in his first season. He gets the job of jumping over the fence, running onto what is a heavily populated hill when we see AFL and cricket played here at Manuka Oval. And Cal Evans, well, it was his free kick, so he should go and get the ball, I guess. Evans kicks it beyond the wing for Canberra. There's a big pack of players around the ball.
It's been very much the pattern this afternoon, Eddie.
Hardy throwing himself around. Hard to get a clear possession over on that outer side. Eventually it did come out, but it went out over the boundary line. So we'll get another boundary throw in. The Demons working it forward by degrees. It's just slightly in their half of the ground. Something
that I'm intrigued by, again, we're seeing a lot of play on the far side of this ground. Two reasons that intrigues me. One is Manuka's a very big ground. And as we know these days, the interchange rules. When can you make your changes, Eddie?
Well, when there's someone nearby.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've got now 8 players, so 4 from each team, waiting to come on, but there is nobody nearby for them to make their change with. So there's going to be a fair bit of running happening as we start to see a few players make a beeline towards this side of the ground, and we'll see whether anything comes of it. Who's that gone down for Canberra? I think you've got an eye on them, Eddie.
Might be Aaron Bruce, the captain. Chris, we'll just keep a close eye. It's Aaron Bruce who's very slow to get up. He is now just getting onto his hands and knees, and the other players waving for the trainers to come over and assist the Canberra captain, Aaron Bruce, who's now up and about on his feet. So
in the meantime, it's the Bombers on the attack. The ball was, I think, intended for Hamilman, but it was cut off by Cormack. And Sol Cormack, he'll have a shot here.
And this is an important shot. We've just ticked over the half-hour mark. A goal here would give Redland a bit of momentum heading into the second quarter, and perhaps they can try and do something with the breeze in the second term. Peak
hour traffic in front of us at the interchange bench as 7 players make their changes. Cormack comes in. He's aimed it to the right, and it stayed to the right. So Redland having great difficulty finding the big sticks this afternoon. They have 1-4-10 for the Canberra Demons. It's 5-1-31. 30 minutes and 25 seconds has passed. There's 2 balls on the field, so we'll have to wait till the extra ovoid is removed.
But keep it nearby in case they lose another one.
Well, exactly. Should have a few scattered around the place this afternoon. It's a very big ground, Manuka, as the Demons again work it around the far side of the ground. And that's Alex Pake who has it in front of the scoreboard. Which way does he go? Continues further around the far side. Halfway between the square and the boundary. Going past there was Yagmore. He couldn't get it. Pack forms over the top of the ball. Stacks on the mill, and the umpire is going to call for a bounce. Has called for a bounce, or a ball up, I should say. Out towards centre wing, outer side of Manuka Oval. Ball still in dispute here. It makes, I reckon that's gone to the exact spot where it was tossed up before. I don't think there was any movement at all. It came out and went straight back in. Speaking about magnets in various places. And again, tapped away by the Demons, and that's a good little run there. Is that Cars who's got it? I think it might be. Sends the ball forward anyway for the Bombers. But again, there's just too many Canberra players playing in front. Highmore, one of them, still going. Ball in dispute. It'll come out to someone for it. No, it won't. Oh, that's a nice little piece of work there from Hayden Batoli Simmons. He's ducked under the tackle. He lines up and shoots. And he's put it through. I'm sure it was Batoli Simmons who got there. It's the second goal of the afternoon for Redland. They moved to 2-4-16. Canberra 5-1-31. And I don't think I've called Batoli Simmons earlier this afternoon. He may have had a hand pass previously.
Yeah, one hand pass, one tackle, and now one kick and one goal for Hayden Batoli Simmons. A captain's goal there, leading from the front. An important one as we cross the 32-minute mark, and it trims the margin to 15 close to quarter time. So Redland staying in this game. They're 2-4 at 16. The Demons 5-1-31. So it's the same number of scoring shots. It's just that Canberra has been able to kick more accurately, and in part that's because some of their shots at goal have been from much closer range, where they've been able to run it through rather than having to take the set shot from a distance. The umpire elects to throw the ball up at this stoppage. Maynard knocks it down and he's chasing it out. He soccers it towards the half-forward line, but the toe poke is a turnover. So perhaps an opportunity for Redland to rebound off half-back and try and create another opportunity before the first break. No one could take the mark. It came down to Smout, who's getting plenty of the ball again today, Alex Smout. 12 disposals so far in this opening quarter. He's on top of the pack here and will get a ball up on the broadcast wing between wing and half forward for Redland. More than 33 minutes played. Can't be too long to go in this quarter, although we have seen quite a few goals and, of course, quite a few stoppages. So that'll add a little to the time on. As Maynard and Malone go at it again in ruck. Umpire throws it up. Maynard probably got hands to that. Smout had it and lost it. And there we are. It's quarter time. The umpire paid a free for a hold. It won't matter. And at the first break, it's Canberra 5-1-31, leading Redland 2-4-16. The goal scorers for the Demons in that opening quarter: Harry Carr with 2, Riley Corbett, Mitch Hardy and Andrew Swan with singles. While for Redland, their 2 goal scorers were Matt Hamilman and the captain, Hayden Batoli Simmons.
Back here at Manuka Oval, UNSW Canberra Oval. We mentioned during the first quarter that it had clouded over and picked up a little bit in the wind. 7.8 degrees, but with the wind picking up and the sun disappearing momentarily, that apparent temperature dropped down to minus 3.3. Eddie, it is certainly a very cool afternoon here. Very difficult for both sides to warm up, but Canberra certainly with the better of it in the first quarter here this afternoon.
Well, revenge is a dish best served cold, and of course when these two sides met in round two, Redland getting over the line by 60 points in a match which Canberra was probably expected to win. So the Demons hoping to get one back on the Bombers this afternoon. Last time they met at this ground here in Manuka was in round 15 last season, so the same round in 2018 with Canberra winning that game by 40 points. At the moment, it's the Demons by 15 as we get underway in the second quarter. Malone knocks it down. Trying to get it in there was Maguire, who's had a lot of the ball early. Ball's on the deck. We have seen a lot of scrappy play in this match so far, a lot of stoppages. The umpire letting things go here. Eventually, he's going to have to come in and ball it up. I think he will.
It was almost like the pinball machine there. The ball kept coming out. It had hit someone and bounced back in, go underneath. Then it had come back out and hit someone and go back in underneath once again. So secondary ball up, just on the edge of the centre square. And it was umpire 19 and both ruckmen wearing number 19. I don't think we've ever seen that before in footy. And it is still big number 19 in Maynard for Canberra, trying to do his best to get it clear. In the end, the congestion does nobody any favours. I think it's come off a stray foot. It has. And so it's going to be a Canberra Demons free kick.
Looks like that's Malane taking it.
And it comes back in from centre wing, far side of the ground. Punched off the pack and it goes over the boundary line. Oh, look, another throw in front of the scoreboard, Eddie. We've had quite a few of those as well today. The game very much in cyclical nature at the moment, but Canberra leading by 15 points, 1 minute gone in the second term. Wait for the ball to come back in. Boundary umpires this afternoon, Ben Feely, Liam Cashin and Matt Thompson. Cara Brody and Kim Schultz behind the sticks. Ball, I think, has actually cleared the entire ruck contest there. And so it is the Bombers who come away with it, courtesy of a clearing kick from Franks. But it's, again, off hands, over the boundary line. Throw in on the far side of the ground in front of a couple of the corporate tents that are very, very popular places to be during AFL games here at Manuka. So we wait for the ball to come back into play. Best of it is Maynard, but I don't think he really got it to anyone in particular. Players converge. Pack forms once again, and it'll be yet another ball up. That'll be the fourth or fifth ball up in the first 2 minutes of the second quarter.
So let's see if someone can try and break the lines here and clear this contest. It was taken out of the ruck by Craig Malone. So here's an opportunity for Redland as they get the ball towards their half-forward line. The umpire's paid a free for a hold. It will go Redland's way, and they'll get another inside 50. They're actually comfortably leading the inside 50 count. This will be inside 50, number 15. The Demons have had just 9, but the Demons well ahead on rebound 50s, 12-4. Aside from that, the stats relatively even. The Demons with a few more disposals of the ball, bounces through for a behind. In the end, it cleared everyone off the breeze. And from a Canberra perspective, fortunately, it didn't take the leg break and go through for a goal. Highmore's long kick-in spots, well, was intended for Mitch Hardy, but it appears to have gone out of bounds on the full. So another chance for Redland to go into attack yet again. It's a low ball inside 50. Thompson couldn't hold on to the mark in his first game back. It was knocked away from him. The ball spilled out to Vardaniga, who kicks it to a 1-on-2. So it's in and out of this Redland forward line with the Bombers able to get it in plenty of times and the Demons continually able to get it out. Batoli Simmons had taken that intercept mark, sends it back inside 50. It was overcooked for Cormick. Bruce got a hand in for the Demons, and they'll be able to run it out of defence with Richardson handing it off to Carr. Carr kicks to the wing towards Swan. He couldn't hold on to it that time. Malene roved the pack. He was immediately dispossessed. Picks it up again. Gives it back to Swan. Swan with a high ball. Maguire is near the contest. It bounces away from him. It bounces towards Aaron Bruce. He couldn't pick it up. Malene gets a hand in again. He's tackled there by Cormick. The ball spilt free. Now it comes out to Williams, the best and fairest winner for the Bombers in the past 2 seasons. A great spoil by Tom Highmore. Gets the ball out of play and it'll be thrown in near the 50-metre arc for Redland.
It flies around the honeypot stuff at the moment for a considerable period there. There was nobody in the attacking half of the field for the Canberra Demons, and there is still nobody inside their attacking 50 players. Following the ball over to this grandstand side of Manuka. Ball clears the pack. It's kicked by Smout into the backside of a Redlands player. Comes down into the path of Caleb Baker. Baker just bombs towards the goal square, and it's a good grab been taken there. Good little body-on-body contest.
And
it's that man again, yes. It's Hamilman.
We don't even need to check.
No,
I think
not
we can
really.
Just assume.
Never assume it. It only makes an ass of you and me. But making an ass of the Canberra Demons defence is Matt Hamilman as he comes in, gets his second for the afternoon. And he puts his side within 10 points. The Redland side go on to 3-5-23. Canberra 5-1-31, 4.5 gone, second term.
Well, after the Demons kicked the first 4 goals of this match, Redland have come back with 3 of the next 4. Certainly seems that the Manuka end is going to be the scoring end this afternoon. And the question perhaps is, and I know they kicked 5 goals in that first quarter, but did the Demons do enough kicking to that Manuka end of the ground, or can Redland try and take a lead into the halftime break? The ball certainly seems to be travelling a bit further when it's being kicked to the right of our screen.
We'll see as this quarter unfolds. It's taken a while to get the ball back into the middle of the ground. I think they've had to retrieve a new one
the
from the
umpire was
side.
running against the wind.
He was, and there's someone actually gone hunting for the ball behind the goal at that southern end. So it's up behind the multicoloured seats. But play goes on. The ruck contest unopposed there for Malone, but I think that's because it's gone outside the circle. So we'll get the secondary restart here. 5:20 gone in the second term now, and the ball back up in the air again, courtesy of Joey O'Brien. Well, it'll be Canberra who'll wind up with it in their forward half. But it's a beautiful little pickup off the ground as we see it going into full forward. Carr tries to take the one-handed mark over the back of his head, but he can't do so. It comes off the pack and then goes over the boundary line. It'll be a throw in here. Very much to the Demons' advantage. Best reply you can possibly have when one side scores a goal is to come out and score a goal against them in short order, and that's what Canberra are looking to do now. Throw-in's going to take place about 7 metres around from the behind post. Carr in the ruck. The ruck contest is won by Malone, who goes for the big punch. And through the congestion, the ball goes and winds up coming out again, only a couple of metres from whence it came.
They've been very efficient when going forward, the Canberra Demons. This is only their 10th inside 50 of the match. They've scored 6 times from 10 forward 50 entries, and they've been able to lock the ball in here this time. Redland really struggling to rebound from defensive 50. Again, Canberra get the ball towards the goal square. It comes to ground. Good defending there by the Redland Bombers, and they'll lock it up. We'll get a ball up 25 metres out from the Canberra goal. Not much angle to speak of here. So this is, 3 or 4 stoppages in a row we've seen inside the Demons forward 50. They're doing a great job this afternoon of locking the ball in their forward line and making it difficult for the Bombers to rebound from defence. Malone took it out of the ruck. His kick was smothered. A lot of bodies around the ball here. It's hand passed into a bit of space. Maguire couldn't quite run onto it. And we'll get yet another ball up as the umpire blows his whistle eventually. A little bit of push and shove perhaps in that contest. A lot of players around the ball.
I love how you said bit of space.
Well, there was a tiny bit of space.
Tiny bit of space, yeah.
Malone may have got a hand to that one. And we're going to get another ball up.
Just as the ball comes free. Irony personified this afternoon.
So really difficult stuff trying to get the ball clear from this contest. Every single player in the Canberra Demons forward half of the ground. Malone just too strong for Carr in that ruck contest and able to gain a few metres there, Craig Malone, by knocking it forward, but not able to get the ball clear, and we get yet another stoppage inside 50 for Canberra.
The umpires will have bulging biceps by the end of the day here. They're getting plenty of work. It's better for the triceps, probably better for the triceps to throw it. The ball goes clear. It comes towards Smout, goes over his head. Pack still chasing it around. It's like under 10 stuff almost here. So many kids chasing the ball. It comes free for him. Was that Highmore for Canberra?
Yep.
Who's that far up the ground? He's a long way from home. And he grabs the ball and runs into the pack. And once again, it'll be a ball up. Well, the good news for the Bombers is they've got it just outside the forward 50 for the Canberra side. So they're working it by degrees. And again, we probably need a few degrees on a cool day like today. The throw-up is, indecisive. And now instead of a throw-up, we'll have a throw-in. As Smout was unable to keep the ball in play for Canberra. And the throw-in now, we're 58 metres around. So, yeah, by every time we stop, it's about 5 metres further around. Be a very, very long afternoon. The ball clears both the ruckman, chasing through underneath. It was no, it was Owen Orban. He couldn't get away with it. Now the clearing kick from a Bombers perspective winds up into the path of Baker. Baker turns around for Canberra, sends it on to Sam Martin, and Martin decides clear space is where this ball needs to go. So he sends it out towards Harper, who runs into said clear space. However, the clear space was not big enough. The ball goes over the boundary line. Harper is able to lean over the fence and retrieve the ball. He doesn't actually have to jump the fence, and play will go on with the ball up almost diametrically opposite where we were a few moments ago on this side of the ground. So ball will come back into play, maybe a few metres further around from the Canberra goal. Malone gets the best of the ruck contest, but again, gee, it's just at some stage this ball might actually break free and we'll get some free-flowing stuff, but at the moment every time it goes to ground there's a pack there coming through. I reckon that might have been Rogers for the Bombers who had the rushed kick.
And it's deliberate. Free kick to Canberra.
Well, there we go. I don't know if he actually had much time to be deliberate. I thought he was just kicking it clear.
Well, you need to have sufficient intent to keep the ball in play.
I don't know whether he had actually intended to kick it anywhere. He was just kicking at it, swinging at it, trying to get it free. Pack flies. Mark not taken. Pack forms underneath, said Mark, that wasn't taken. Ball will be tossed up again just inside the Canberra 50-metre line now. We've had a grand total of 1 goal, 1 scored this quarter. In 10 minutes, Canberra haven't added to their tally since quarter time. Redland have added 1 goal and 1. They're 23. The home side 31, 10 minutes and 15 seconds gone. The ball goes out of the Canberra 50, back into the Canberra 50. Waiting underneath it there was Bruce. Bruce couldn't control. It comes free. That might be Harry Carr. Can't get control of the ball, and it's spilled free. It's now the Bombers with a chance to break here. The target was Thompson. Couldn't get to him. It was slapped away from him. But they're coming up the ground in numbers now, these Bombers. It's a whole fleet of them. The squadron, you could say. Thompson calls for it. His lead is ignored. It's in front of Hamilman. Hamilman doesn't have the ball. Had it, didn't have it. Had it, didn't have it. Got tackled in there, could have got a free kick, didn't. Ball is still in dispute here. It's on the ground. That's Thomason again, who's come all the way up the ground. He can't get control of it. He'll get another crack. He tries to soccer it through Messi style. Instead, it's just Messi play. Still a pack over the top of it. Thompson gets his 4th go at it, but the Canberra Demons defence is too good. It comes out into the path there of Pollock. Pollock can't do anything with it. It gets past him. Keneally takes it up for the Bombers. Now it goes with Baker. Baker sends it in towards the top of the goal square. Punched away by Pake, I think it was, for Canberra. Now we'll see it going around into the path of Smout. Smout with a short hand pass to a teammate. Canberra, they'll just settle things down now and try and work it around the far side of the ground.
Might have gotten away with a couple there, the Canberra Demons, but they'll be pretty happy not to have conceded any free kicks there. Some good defending as Alex Smout racks up another disposal. He just pokes it short to Mitch Hardy, who marks near the boundary line on the outer side of the ground, just outside his defensive 50. Hardy kicks it beyond the wing. Andrew Swan's in front, but sliding in to take the mark there is his Redland opponent in Stephen Mills, who has the footy. Defensive side of the wing is a little bit more free-flowing in these past few moments. Mills kicks it beyond the wing. He couldn't find a target. The ball's on the ground. A pack forms over the ball, and just as I said, things were starting to get a little more free-flowing. We get another stoppage. Angus Baker obviously isn't feeling the cold. He was wearing the long sleeves in the first quarter. It must have been a bit too warm for him. He's taken them off. He's back in the regular sleeveless top in this second quarter. Angus Baker, one of Canberra's bright sparks in this season, along with Alex Smout, has probably been their best campaigner in 2019. A free kick for holding the ball goes the Demons' way. It will be Mitch Hardy with another disposal. He's been busy in the past few minutes. He just went short, and it'll be Smout with yet another disposal. He is going to get leather poisoning today, Alex Smout. That's a good kick, which finds Mitch Maguire over on that outer side of the ground, the 50 gamer. So they're just taking a slower approach here, the Demons, trying to maintain possession. Maguire's kick inboard is marked by Sam Martin. And they have had a lot more of the ball than the Bombers. 121 disposals to 102 so far, the Canberra Demons, as Vardaniga kicks it out to the wing again.
Well, the Bombers have just gone man on man. They're trying to bottle this up. Canberra are saying, well, we'll just keep kicking around here and dare you to send somebody into space.
So the kick is towards half forward. There weren't really any numbers there for Canberra. It'll come off okay, though. Harry Carr gave the hand pass back. It's kicked towards half forward. It was Bud working up the ground who gathered the ball. Still in Canberra Demons' hands. Carr's waiting for it to come over. Carr still chasing the footy, picks it up, shrugs the tackle, kicks it towards the goal mouth. Didn't get enough on the kick, and Redland now with an opportunity to rebound and perhaps create something from the back pocket using this broadcast side of the ground. The kick comes now to Caelan Baker, and Redland with a chance to take a few deep breaths and reload.
And Baker has had a couple of kicks this quarter, called to play on by the umpire. And really didn't have too many options. Hasn't gone too far with it. It's Spence who has it. Sends it around the grandstand wing, waiting underneath it, and will get the mark almost untouched is Baker, who has, as Eddie said, ditched the long sleeves from the first quarter. Now it's with Smout.
Disposal number 21 for Smout.
And we're, 14 minutes of the second quarter. He's having a day out, is Alex Smout, and, well, this will be disposal number 22 for him.
He's on track for a half century.
Well, he raised the bat here at Manuka, sends it across the far side of the ground with his 22nd disposal. It's gone to ground there. Underneath it was Bud. Bud turns around. He had more time, I think, than he actually realised. He's rushed his kick a little bit and has gone off hands. It'll be a throw-in.
Just put himself under pressure by dropping what should have been a pretty straightforward mark there, Riley Bud.
Did indeed, but the ball will come back in, far side of the ground. And after we've seen the 2-19s go at it head-to-head in the ruck all afternoon, that time it was the 2-11s. So we're playing in matching sets here this afternoon. Bud has a chance to redeem himself and again rushes his kick. It's been cut off by Franks for the Bombers. He'll take his time. Puts the ball inside their forward 50. It goes to ground. It's going to be chased and chased. Was in the end, I think it might have been McGannon who's come up from the back line for them, who wound up with it, sent it into the centering kick, but instead it winds up with the Canberra Demons. A bit of a dangerous play there from Harper, and well, they've diced with danger. The ball winds up with Bud again. Let's see what he can do this time. He's had two pretty ordinary kicks. This time he clears the contest. He was looking towards Bruce, couldn't get there. Now the ball comes free. Demons are under pressure as the Bombers have it, but they're going through hands. Little hand pass comes from Mills, but it goes passed on to a teammate in Keneally. Keneally, short hand pass to a friend of his, and then it goes on to Revell, and Revell has put it in towards the forward line, and I think it might be Cameron who's got there. It is Cameron about 30 out directly in front, and Canberra unable to do anything on the scoreboard here in this second quarter. Redland, they could be within a kick here in just a moment.
And they do have a lot of class on the field, Redland. I know they have struggled a little bit so far in this season. They're at 9th on the NEAFL ladder, but here we have a player like Clay Cameron, who spent time on the Gold Coast Suns list, and he has a shot from directly in front.
Goes for the low trajectory kick. Smart move. Keeps it under the breeze here at Manuka, and he puts it fairly well straight through the middle. There's Cameron. He gets his first. It's the fourth for his side this afternoon. Their second of this second quarter. They've had all the scoring since the break. And they trail by 2, 4-5-29 to Canberra 5-1-31.
Perhaps the Demons just overusing the footy a little bit in this second quarter. So far in this game, they've had 145 disposals to 116, 36 marks to 26. They've also laid more tackles in spite of that. But Redland leading the clearances, comprehensively ahead in the inside 50s, 21-13, and starting to even things up on the scoreboard. It's worth noting that the Redland leading possession winner is Miller with 10. Whereas Smout for Canberra has 23, more than double.
We did see that succession of play where the Redland Bombers just went man on man, and Canberra didn't seem to be willing to look for a way to get through it. Canberra played at their best in the first 15 minutes of this game when they just played in front and really didn't worry about the contest. They just got in front at every contest, and if they can go back to doing that, they'll do quite nicely here. Smout has had another couple of possessions in that set of play, and there's a hand pass there as it goes around the outside to Moline. Moline then on to... was that car all the way up the ground? Gee, they've gone, he's a long way from home.
He started in the ruck at that contest.
Okay, there we go. That was hard. He comes back to Bud now. Bud sends the ball just forward of halfway, off hands of the pack. In underneath it are a couple of the Bombers players. And the umpire will come in for yet another restart. When this game's had some free-flowing stuff, it looks fantastic. But, gee, those periods have been few and far between. Ball is now... again under dispute with a lot of players. There's 4 or 5 in there. Will it come free? Doesn't. Eventually it comes free for Canberra's advantage. Bounces once, picked up there by Swan. Off the bounce, turns around, sends it in towards the forward line, and I think it's gone out on the full. Tries the umpire call that it's going to be a throw. It must have bounced on the line. It's a long way from us here, very close to the line. So a throw in inside the Canberra forward 50.
There was another kick in there for Alex Smout, so I think he's up to 26 now. He is well and truly on track to break the half century. The Bombers need to try and do something to stop his influence, although Redland really should be in front when we think about some of the shots that Matt Hamilman missed in the first quarter. They've had 9 scoring shots to 6, and Redland really dominating this second term as the umpire picks a free kick for a hold, and it will go the Bombers' way. So that'll make things a lot easier for them to clear from defensive 50 this time. It was Mills with the free kick. He just dished off the hand pass, then the kick just pitched inside the field of play. So we'll get yet another throw in between wing and half forward for the Canberra Demons near the scoreboard on that outer side of the ground. The Demons holding on to a 2-point lead. We've played 19 minutes, approaching time on in this second quarter as we get ready for a restart. It's Harry Carr up in ruck against Stephen Mills, so two of the secondary ruckmen being used today. Mills won it down pretty decisively. No one's able to break clear from the contest though, and we'll get another ball up just on the edge of that centre square.
Thankfully the sun has decided to make a return appearance here at Manuka this afternoon, but the wind is still very, very strong, especially at higher levels, up to 40 and 50 kilometres an hour this afternoon. Tom Fall charges through the pack, gets a little hand pass away. Now Moline waiting for it underneath it. He gets ambushed, and Maguire couldn't pick it up. He comes in to try and get it free as well. Once again, though, it's this brigade of Bombers who send the ball clear. They were looking there for Beard, but they couldn't get it as it's been cut off by Hardy. Hardy turns around, right foot, goes diagonally across the square, was looking there for Pollock. Pollock had a man all over him, but umpire says play on. Let's see if we can actually have some footy here. Corbett tried to get it for the Canberra side. He couldn't do anything with it. It come back towards him, and also in there was Pollock, but the ball once again winds up with the Bombers. It's on the chest of Cameron. Cameron goes across the field. He finds it with Yagmore. Yagmore then across to Spence. Spence near the centre circle, kicks it in towards half forward, charging a long way out. His Hamilman has to let it bounce once and twice. Turns around now. He's got calling for it at centre half forward, Franks, but instead it's an ill-directed kick, and it's taken by Vardaniga. Vardaniga turns around, gives it to Bud for the Demons, and he sends it outside of their defensive 50. Now chasing on is Harper. He's got a bit of time here. He's got plenty of space. He's gone for one bounce. He could go for a second. Instead he elects not to. Puts it up, looking to try and get it onto the chest of Swan. Swan does well. Outmuscles his opponent. Pops it onto a teammate. Now charging into the goal square is Evans. He waits. He picks it up off the ground. It should have been a free-flowing, fast-running goal. Instead it's a little bit awkward, but he bangs it through the big sticks, and Kel Evans gets a goal at Manuka.
Kel Evans gets the goal. Good play by Andrew Swan. Gave it off to Reece Pollock. And Evans, in his first season with the Demons, coming to the club from the Queanbeyan Tigers, he kicked a goal in his first match. He's got one here, and that's the Demons' first goal of the quarter. Comes in time on. We've gone just over 21 minutes, but a bit of a steadier for the Canberra side, who now take an 8-point lead.
Hasn't got a lot of goals so far this season, only about half a dozen, I'd reckon, but he's played about 10 games. Maybe this will be his 11th game, and doesn't look out of place at NEAFL level, Kel Evans. So a player to keep an eye on in the future here. What are we at? 22 gone. So it took 21 and a half minutes for Canberra to get their first scoring shot of this quarter, and they've restored some of the margin they had. They had 15 points at the break. It's now 8. As the ball is back in the centre of the ground, you can see there the wind blowing the back of the umpire's shirt around. It is very, very windy here in the open spaces at Manuka, and that's why I'm surprised that we keep seeing the ball sent around to that far side of the ground. Much better control if you play it on the grandstand side, but it's once again the Canberra Demons they've lost the ball here. It's been chased after by Thompson. Also in there is Cormac for the Bombers. If they can get it free, they've got 3 or 4 players loose just outside the shot, but the umpire has called for a ball up, so it will be tossed about 35 out from the Bombers' goal. It's tapped further towards the goal, and that might be one from the restart. No, it's gone wide. Again, sometimes these players could just take a couple of extra steps, Ed. We've seen a couple of shots this afternoon taken where players have perhaps had more perceived pressure than actual pressure on them.
Yeah, a couple of players who we like to keep an eye on. Jared Osborne, last week's best on ground with 30 touches, and the Rising Star nominee, only 1 disposal so far this afternoon. Tom Fall with just 2 touches for Canberra as well. So a couple of players who will be looking to lift in the second half. As Redland go back inside 50, Tom Highmore's had a good game today. There's another intercept mark for him. He's coming up for disposal number 9 as he kicks it out towards, might be Mitch Maguire. In fact, it was Alex Smout again on the far side of the ground. He is having a field day. That's disposal number 28 for Alex Smout. As the Demons now move the ball beyond the wing, Riley Budd tried to fly. It might have been Corbett, in fact, but Williams is at the back for Redland. His kick goes off the wrong side of the boot and out of bounds on the full. From a Redland perspective, Matt Thompson in game number 199, his first game back, has had only 2 disposals so far. Justin Curry, a former Brisbane Lions NEAFL player, only a couple of disposals as well. So a few players will be looking to lift in the last few minutes of this quarter and then into the second half as the Demons try and get on the scoreboard again. It's kicked towards full forward.
Don't you love it when a player just decides, I'm going to just plant my flag and stand right here and let everyone contest for it, and I'll just take it when they all miss it.
And he used to plonk the flag for Ganmain Grong Grong Matong. I think it's Riley Corbett who's going to get himself.
You just love saying that name, don't you, Ed?
I do. I think I mispronounced Matong there. It's
yeah,
Ganmain Grong Grong Matong.
Yes.
So Riley Corbett, who is a good addition to the Canberra forward line this season, gives them a marking target, a goal-kicking target. Spent a little bit of time in the ruck today as well. He kicks from close range, a right foot drop, punt, just squeezes it through. A couple in a row for Canberra, and they're back out by 13 points.
Much needed.
2 goals on the day for Riley Corbett. The only other multiple goal scorer for the Demons is Harry Carr, while Matt Hamilman has 2 for Redland.
7:143 to 4:6:30, and the 25-minute comes up on the clock right now. So what have we had? We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 goals this quarter. You'd imagine there's still several minutes left here. And Canberra, after a bit of a lull, have started to restore a bit of the superiority by playing in front, Eddie.
Yeah, and trying to move the ball a little bit more quickly, able to rebound off half-back and create a more open forward line and an opportunity there for Corbett to take a mark. We saw a 33-minute quarter or more in the opening quarter, so we've only gone 25 and a half minutes here in the second term. We could be playing for a good few minutes yet. As Maynard knocked that one down, Maguire got the centre clearance. It comes towards half-forward. Owen Orban chases and lays a good tackle, but Redland maintained possession. They've moved the ball towards the wing with a kick for Baker to try and run onto, but Martin got there first. Fed it back to Angus Baker, his teammate, who kicks it for Owen Orban, who gathers, can't quite keep it in play. And we'll get a throw in just in front of the Redland interchange bench. No one coming off or on at the moment, despite the ball being so close to the interchanges. We do see Bruce Reville, the debutant, looking to get back onto the ground shortly as it's thrown back into play. Maynard started from behind. Malone did not want to concede front position, but he palmed it straight down to Moline. Now it does come to Maynard. He tried to give it back to Moline, couldn't find him. Owen Orban barges his way through. He loses the ball momentarily, and we will get another ball up between wing and half forward for Canberra. It's been an interesting battle in the ruck as well. At the moment, Redland well on top, 30 hit-outs to 12, with big Craig Malone having an impact on this contest. Maynard's throwing his way in there as well. He lays a tackle here. The ball does come to his opposite ruckman in Malone, whose kick ended up with Keneally. Couldn't hold the mark, but was able to get the ball moving forward. Good tackle there by Angus Baker, but Redland hold on to the footy. Demons with numbers in defence. The ball bounces to Highmore at the back. Highmore gives it to Bruce. Bruce goes by hand now for Richardson, who feeds it to Angus Baker. This is a great passage of play here for the Demons. Baker back to Richardson. Richardson has one bounce. There's a free kick. Will they pay the advantage? They do. Not sure it was there. It came to Hardy. Hardy gives it back. Now the hand pass comes out into the pocket. Harper fires it towards the goal. And it's through for a behind. So a pretty exciting passage of play. The free kick was paid. I'm not sure the advantage should have been taken. And the Demons come away with a point.
Yeah, the ball going to Richardson, who perhaps thought he was a little bit fleeter of foot than he actually wound up being. But end result is that Canberra back to a 14-point lead. So the Redland Bombers winning this quarter by 1 point at the moment as the clock reaches 27 and a half minutes. Now that is Cormac for the Bombers. Goes for the short hand pass and then gets the ball back. And then he's absolutely mown down in the middle of the ground. Umpire waves the arms and says that's a holding the ball. Allows Canberra to play on as it's kicked back towards Harper. Now this time Harper doesn't run on. He gets himself set. This will be a tough one for him. If the breeze does pick up, he'll be kicking at about the limit of his kicking, I'd suspect, because he's kicking straight into the wind.
And there are some players trying to lead out of the goal square. Andrew Swan was making an option there, but Harper taking the responsibility to go back and have a shot. And great to see some quicker ball movement here from the Demons, creating a couple of shots on goal.
Well, Jordan Harper. Kick from just inside 50. He goes for the lowish kick and he's aimed it at the near post and is completely unsuccessful. Hasn't kicked many goals for the Canberra Demons. I think 2 on his resume, and well, doesn't add to it there.
But of course, only rejoining the club towards the middle of the season, coming back after spending some time with North Melbourne in the VFL, a former captain of the Canberra Demons, Jordan Harper, and he's been a good addition to the midfield since he rejoined the side over the past couple of months. Redland have worked the ball towards the wing on that outer side. We've gone nearly 29 minutes. They trail by 14 points here, the Bombers, as we see a long kick towards half forward. Aaron Bruce is playing seemingly as a loose man in defence, and he just came off and went third man up at that contest. The Canberra captain knocked the ball out of play, and I guess with Corbett, Carr and Swan playing well in the forward line, that allows Aaron Bruce to float back into defence and try and take a bit of pressure off the likes of Highmore, Pake and Budd. We get a boundary throw in, Malone and Maynard. The boundary throw in was knocked down by Malone. Good pressure at the contest here from Canberra. Malone fed a hand pass backwards. Fall laid a strong tackle, but in fact he held on far too long and probably dumped the player a bit, and we'll get a free kick here for Redland in the centre corridor.
When Redland went for that play around the far side as the push and shove continues over there, Eddie's going to park the binoculars on that and see if anything else happens out of it. It won't, because the ball's come free now, so it'll play on. They had a couple of players, Jai Keneally and Justin Curry, were both free over on this edge of the centre square, and they would have been able to, with their pace, make a real scything run into the attacking 50. So sometimes looking laterally better than looking up the ground. Half an hour has just gone in the second quarter here, still 14 points the difference, and a ball up inside the forward 50 for the Bombers. Ball bouncing around off the couple of hands, coming to try and bring it through is, no surprise, Smout for the Canberra side. Now I reckon that might be Malone who's got it. Ball cleared away, kicked into its centre half forward. Target there was Curry, couldn't do anything with it, and now once again it's the Canberra Demons on the burst around this grandstand side. If they're quick, they can go end to end here. Of course, to go into it, they actually need someone inside their forward 50. There was nobody there. Swan was one of the charging brigade for it, but it's been rebounded now and taken by Keneally. Keneally, then he finds there Rogers, who got absolutely cleaned up afterwards. Didn't appreciate the attention from Ton Fall. Comes up and lets him know about it as well. So as the siren sounds, we've got a bit of push and shove going on here. We'll just keep an eye on it and stay with it on NEAFL TV for a moment. But it now starts to fizzle away to nothing. And at half-time, with 31 minutes the second quarter, we'll just stay with this because the clock is actually still ticking here, Eddie. And I'm just going to see what comes out of this. There's a lot of feeling going on here. We could get the most unusual situation of an after the siren free kick here.
We did see the umpire having a bit of a conversation with Tom Fall, but look, the players now making their way off the ground. And
Aaron Bruce is being very vocal with one of the umpires at the moment. He's really not happy about something. He's gesticulating at his own chest.
And we see the two sides now separating and making their own ways off the field, and a little bit of separation on the scoreboard as well at halftime. The Canberra Demons 7-2-44 with a 14-point lead over Redland, who are 4-6-30. Well, a big second half coming up here at Manuka Oval, and an important half of footy in the context of the Canberra Demons season as they try and stay in touch with the NEAFL top 6. At the moment, the two sides just above the Demons on the ladder are going head-to-head at Blacktown, where Sydney Uni leads the Gold Coast Suns by 27 points at quarter time, 5-3-33 to 1 straight 6. The Demons won't mind seeing Sydney Uni ahead. They'd like that game to be a bit tighter from a Canberra Demons perspective, but Canberra need to control their own destiny and come out and perform strongly in this second half against Redland. Mitch Maguire's performing strongly here. He kicks towards full forward. Tom Fall holds the mark. He might have been paid a free, but he's got the ball anyway, and he'll have a shot from directly in front, 25 metres out.
Let's have a quick look at some of the numbers from the first half as Fall gears up to take this shot at goal. And, well, no real surprise, the leading possession getter for Canberra is Alex Smart. 29 possessions in the live possession count now. Baker with 16, Maguire 15, Vardaniger and Harper with 13. As Fall takes the shot.
And he's kicked the goal. A good start to the second half for Canberra. They're 8th. Tom Falls first. The Demons are 8-2-50. They're up by 20 points. Redland 4-6-30. And I'll make a prediction, Chris. I reckon no one else on the ground will even get up to 29 disposals. I think Alex Smart could go home now, and he would still end up as the leading possession winner on the ground.
I'll take you on that. Angus Baker will get 30. There you go. Keneally for the Bombers has 12 disposals for today. He's their leading disposal getter. In fact, there's only 4 for the Bombers who've gone into 12 total disposals, and no one with even close to 10 kicks for them at the moment. Keneally with 12, Miller with 11, Bartolli, Simmons and Hamilman have 10 apiece in total of disposals.
We're back in the middle. Maynard and Malone resuming their battle in the ruck. The bounce just ever so slightly favoured Josh Maynard, who took it out of the ruck, kicked it out towards the wing, but he's turned it over. There is Bartolli Simmons marking the ball. He goes out wide with a kick that just sits in front of a couple of Bombers players. In the end, it's gathered there by Miller, who fed the hand pass back to Bartolli Simmons. He goes by hand again now for McGannon. He was knocked out of play, and we'll get a boundary throw in right on centre wing, right in front of our commentary position. And the Bombers, they're not quite making the most of their opportunities as Malone and Maynard get to the stoppage. Umpire checks that everyone's ready, and he gets ready to throw the ball back into play. Alex Smart starting off the bench at the moment. Malone took it out of the ruck, ran away from Maynard, kicked it towards half forward. The ball just bounced through them all. It was taken by Angus Baker for Canberra, who kicks it into the centre of the ground. Adrian Williams is leading the race to the footy for Redland. He's got Moline in pursuit of him. Williams picks it up. He is tackled by Moline. Has to give the hand pass off. Coming through there was Clay Cameron. Williams tries to get it again. He might have been under a little bit of pressure there. Umpire calls play on. So here's another opportunity for the Demons. They've got a man on his own in the pocket, and it's Harry Carr yet again.
Great from Tom Fall to look down and see Carr waiting there. Now, Fall's run onto the top of the square, so he could be a target, but I don't think so. Harry Carr's decided he's going to go back and have the shot.
2 shots already this afternoon. Sorry, 2 goals already for Harry Carr this afternoon, both from close range when he ran into an open goal. This time he's taking a set shot, and he's taking it from a tight angle in the pocket. Just opens up the angle slightly, and he's put it through. Well, he's a walking highlights reel today, Harry Carr. He's got 3, and the Demons are out by 26 points.
They are indeed. Alex Smart looking very, very lonely down here in front of us, Eddie. He wants to get back out there. No one's paying attention to him to let him get back out there. He wants to add to that welter of possessions he's got. And finally, it's Jordan Harper, the man who is called off the park, and he comes off. So Smart returns to the fray there. He'll come straight into the midfield here, and Canberra, great start for them. They do need the percentage. You mentioned it before, Eddie, that the Sydney Uni side are winning comfortably against the Gold Coast. So that will see both of these sides, if Canberra win today, that'll see both these sides overtake the Gold Coast, but Canberra will still be well behind Sydney Uni on percentage. So they play each other again. I think they've got one more fixture up in Sydney. Yeah. So that could turn out to be the most crucial match of the season in terms of the final campaign. But the ball back in the middle of the park, and it's the 2 big 19s going for it. Maynard for the Demons and Malone for the Bombers, but nobody able to do much with it as it surpasses both of them. Comes back towards Maguire now. He sends the ball into the forward line tries to get into the forward line for the Demons. Swan was chasing it, but a ball goes out over the boundary line. And it'll be a throw-in to take place just outside the Canberra forward 50, with the Demons up by 26 points early in the third term here at Manuka. Beautiful ground, Eddie. I went for a bit of a wander at half-time. and saw some magnificent old photos dating back to 1928 when this ground was first being laid out, which are on display in the back of this main grandstand here. As the ball now for the Bombers going into their forward line. There's not too many options up forward for them. Coleman probably the best of them, but it gets away from him. And once again, the Canberra Demons, they're able to run away with it. Angus Baker tries to get a possession, can't, taps it forward to his own advantage. Now he picks it up on the third attempt, gets the kick up inside the forward 50. A clean bowls a couple. Rebounding now are the Bombers. That is Spence. Spence goes across field. There's time for them to settle a little bit, and they do so. Curry turns around, goes around the outside, gets it across to Miller. Miller sending the ball further forward, and this is good stuff from the Bombers now. It's with Cormac. Cormac, he's got a man on his own there in Cast. You're never going to go wrong kicking it to the playing coach when he's out there on his own, but the gap around Cast closed as the ball came off his hands and goes through over the boundary line for a throw-in. Canberra leading 26 points here, 5.5 gone third term.
Good pressure there by Sam Martin to get to the contest and knock that ball out of play, and it has been out of play a lot on that side of the ground. It's thrown back into play. In the end, the boundary throw-in probably fell short of the ruckman, the wind having an impact on the players and the boundary umpires today as we see that kick go out of bounds on the full. So a free kick on centre wing for Redland.
Just check out the trees in the background, Eddie. They really have. They weren't moving very much at the start of the game, but they're really blowing now.
Yeah, the wind has certainly picked up. The apparent temperature has apparently fallen, and it is very cold out there. Don't let the sun deceive you. It is a very, very chilly Canberra winter's day. As Redland get the ball moving, towards half forward, but they've kicked it straight back out of bounds on the full. So the Demons will get a free kick this time as the ball is picked up, comes back into play, and it'll be the co-vice captain in Tom Highmore to bring it back in. I don't think he was on his mark correctly, so the ball's going to come back to Highmore. He tried to kick it yet again to Alex Smout.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Highmore takes it again. Looks for Osborne. Haven't seen too much of Jared Osborne, but the ball just made it through to him that time. A mark there for Osborne. He goes out wide for Martin, who marks on the defensive side of the wing. A slower build-up this time for the Canberra Demons. Osborne makes another short lead. That's ignored. Martin's going to go longer than that. Just kicks it down the line. Malone has camped at that contest. The ball went through his fingers. It's hacked forward Canberra's way. Will it get to Harry Khan? Not quite. He had to go the spoil. He knocked it down to Paik, who gave it back to Hardy. Hardy's looking to go inboard. He sets it up towards the captain in Bruce. Couldn't quite take the mark, but he recovered pretty well, Aaron Bruce. Fed the hand pass forward. There might be a free for it. No, umpire calls play on. Yagmore put himself in there. The ball spilled out to Cal Evans, and Cal Evans puts it out of bounds on the full. Opportunity missed for the Demons. They still lead by 26 points.
Evans did well to play through in there despite a little bit of rough stuff around him. You mentioned that it is still cool here. It has warmed up a smidgen. 8.1 the actual temperature. But yeah, the wind averaging 40 kilometres an hour from the west-northwest, gusting up to 60 k's, and it feels like minus 1.2 in the shade this afternoon. So that's probably why they're playing on that other side of the ground, Eddie, because there's less shade over there. Canberra have the ball once again now, and that'll be Sam Martin who has it as he sends it back inside their forward 50. Paik, the man who tries to take the mark. He flies. It comes off hands. Now it's in towards the hot spot. There's nobody home there. A car comes racing out, but he's been beaten to the punch here, and the Bombers, they're on the fly as they go back up through the middle of the park here. Big man. I think that may have been Malone who's got in and taken the mark, or is it Hamilton? A long way from home. It is. He gets up, he plays on, and he's pinged for holding the ball or incorrect disposal. Canberra, they don't muck around. They send it back into the forward line. Off the hands there of Bruce. He can't control it, and again the Bombers, they're on the rebound. This is good stuff here. Baker has it now. He's in space on the wing, goes with the right foot kick in towards the forward line. Too far out to score will be Franks. He's probably a kick and a half to goal. Sends it in to a player slightly less of an angle, but still as far out as the debutant Reville. And Reville, his kick in towards the full forward is intercepted. It was 25 to 25. Martin who wound up with it. And now they're going around the far side. No surprise who's got it for Canberra. It's Alex Smout with his 150,000th possession for today. He just gets it every couple of seconds, it seems. That one's been touched on the way through, so it'll be contested. Baker comes charging through, can't quite get there. There's too many black and red jerseys with a tackle laid. Front on tackles usually result in a ball up, and that's what the umpire has decided here. No chance to get rid of it because the tackle came from right in front.
So it'll be thrown up in the middle of Manuka Oval with Canberra holding on to this 26-point lead. We've gone more than 9 minutes in the third quarter. The Demons with the only 2 goals of the term. In fact, the only 2 scores of the term. 2 straight goals for Canberra. Perhaps the Redland Bombers can create something here off the edge of the square. The kick towards Hamilton. He can't hold the mark. Can he get the crumb? Martin lays a tackle. Umpire waits. Umpire will come in and throw the ball up 40 metres out from Redland's goal directly in front. Matt Hamilton really is a one-man show up there at the moment Couple of goals from him, 3 behinds in the opening quarter. The NEAFL's leading goal kicker last season, as the ball spills out towards Highmore, who knocked it back. Yagmore goes off the ground with a kick that will come off pretty well if Curry had been able to hold on. Yagmore bursts through again. He goes off the left and he's missed to the right.
You see the curve on that one as he's put it into the air.
Very difficult to judge the wind today.
It really is picking up. We can see now the Toyo tyre signs on the grandstand, on the big scoreboard as well. You can see it rippling in the wind. It's getting tougher and tougher to play footy here this afternoon. And this lead that Canberra has, bearing in mind they are kicking with the wind at the moment, they'll need to expand upon it, flirting with the boundary line, but there's a whistle behind play.
I think Highmore was knocked after he kicked it, so a little bit lucky they'll get a downfield free here at the Canberra Demons.
Connor Owen Orban was the target. I suspect it would have been out on the full had the free kick downfield not been paid. So Owen Orban goes with the short ball, finds Osborne. Osborne, you mentioned we hadn't seen much of him today. He was actually the last Canberra player of their 23 involved today to get a kick. So he's now had 3, I think, this quarter, as Fall is the man who's trying 1, 2, 3 times, taps it around. Dangerous that he could get pinged. No, he pops it away, finds Corbett. Corbett goes for the rugby style up and under kick. Almost a mark taken for the Demons, but it spills away, and it's Keneally who rebounds for the Bombers. He just kicks more in hope than anything else, and that might be Moline who's got it. He turns on a sixpence, puts a pretty ordinary hand pass in low into the path of Baker. Baker goes back, and then it comes around towards, is that Hardy down there? It is. He goes to ground, but the ball has gone over his head and out of bounds on the full, so it'll be the Bombers to rebound. My brain keeps doing cartwheels today, Eddie, because of course it's Eastlake here,
yes,
and in the AFL Canberra competition. The game prior to this was a curtain raiser, which had Eastlake, the club side, who play in black and red jerseys, the Bomber-style jerseys that Redland are wearing today. And my mind keeps flashing back to the earlier game, and I keep thinking, which one's the Demons out there? But it's definitely the blue and yellow, and they're on the attack again as the ball goes past Harper, and it's bouncing around, waiting for its several players. Winds up in the path there of, I think it might be Martin, who sends the ball short to Harper. Harper, he's too far out to score. He's looking for a couple of his teammates. It may have been Pollock was the man he was after. Has it been held or pushed in the back, or has he got the mark? Either way, the ball will be with him as he will take a shot at goal. He's had a quiet game today, but he had a very good game last week, Reece Pollock.
Yeah, he does add a lot of energy to the Canberra Demons forward line. He's a bit of an opportunist and doesn't necessarily need a lot of the ball to have an impact. So Reece Pollock looking to get on the scoreboard here. He did help set up a couple of goals earlier on in the match.
Yeah, he's had just the 5 disposals today, 2 kicks, 3 hand passes. This will be his 3rd kick. He's about 30 out, slight angle, and I think he's sprayed it. He has. It's off to the right-hand side. So Canberra, we'll say this about Canberra, after some early season yips and some pretty ordinary kicking, they've done well today on a very difficult day with windy conditions. 9-3-57, Redland 4-7-31, 12 and a half gone in the 3rd.
So it's kicked out long. Corbett was in front, couldn't hold on to the mark. Richardson tried to burst through. Christensen was there for Redland. Maguire picked it up, fed the hand pass, but it was cut off by Miller. Miller kicks towards the wing. It'll come out now for Baker. That's Baker of Redland, who hand passes inboard for Thompson. Thompson with a little bit of space now. He puts it inside 50. It didn't really favour Hamilman, and Josh Maynard floated back to take the mark. Wants to get things moving quickly by hand to Baker, who puts it out in front of Martin. Martin eventually gathers. He's got Harper on short. That's where he goes by hand. Martin keeps on going and receives the hand pass. He's got Smout next to him. Smout, he'll gather eventually and pick up yet another disposal, Alex Smout. He goes down the line with a kick towards Andrew Swan. In the end, it went out of bounds on the full. And Redland will get things moving quickly now as well with a kick inboard for Spence. This game just starting to open up a little in this second half. Cameron Spence kicks into the middle of the ground for Christensen, who takes the mark on the chest. This is a better setup by Redland. He's got Yagmore on short. Elects to just poke it for the captain in Batoli Simmons. Yagmore's still nearby. Batoli Simmons spots a man loose lurking near half forward in Sebastian Rogers, who marks just outside 50. Probably still too far out to score. Where's Hamilman inside 50 for the Bombers? Oh, he takes on the man on the mark. He looks into the pocket and he's kicked the ball out of bounds on the full.
Well, it was clever. Not so much in the end.
Might have bitten off just a little bit more than he could chew, and it'll be Riley Budd with the resulting free kick for the Devils.
It's one thing to sell the candy. It's another thing to then spill it all over the floor. Hey, Ed. Ball back in play, and once again, flying there for it for Canberra was Pollock. He couldn't do much. It's gone into the bottom of the pack, and the umpire will ball it up again. near the corner square. I reckon they've moved the centre square across since the last time I watched a game of footy here. They have. So the centre square is not actually in the centre of the ground. That's throwing us a little bit. Reville has it for the Bombers. It's a good-looking kick from outside 50, but it is falling into the chest of Highmore, who takes the mark just between goal and behind post. Now it's Baker, Canberra variety, going further upfield, looking towards Maguire, but the ball's been cut off. It comes back in. Chasing it for the Bombers was Thompson, but the ball spills over the boundary line once again. Throw in to take place in front of this wonderful little hospitality setup. I snuck a look in there during the cricket test match last summer, and I'll tell you what, it's not a bad place to watch sport from there because it's shielded from all the weather here at Eddie. There's not a lot of that here at Manuka. Ball comes back into play, and it's still inside the attacking 50 for the Bombers, but not for too long because now they are able to, the Demons that is, are able to stream free. Pake was the target, but they've not been able to get it to him. It bounced around a couple of times in the middle of the park. Pake comes back in. There might be a free. No, the umpire's going to say held in, and it'll be a ball up adjacent to the centre circle.
Well, perhaps that explains, Chris, why more of the ball has been on that other side of the ground if the centre square is not as central as it always is. No one really able to get a hand on that hit out there, but a free kick paid for a hold going the way of Malone. So Redland back inside 50, but Highmore was waiting. He gave it off to Aaron Bruce, who's looking pretty good off the half-back line, Bruce. He thumps it inside 50. The ball came to Adrian Williams for Redland. He fed it back towards Rogers. Rogers under a lot of pressure. In comes Pake. Pake's tackled, knocked the hand pass out. Pake goes in again, tries to feed a hand pass into a little bit of space. There's not much space there. Redland able to run the ball out of defence, and perhaps they can try and counter-attack here as the ball came out towards Franks. Now the kick sits up okay for Curry. Curry runs onto it, shrugs the tackle, kicks it to the hot spot. And coming in and taking the mark, is it that man again?
It is.
Matt Hamilman with a shot on goal directly in front.
Oh, he just made that look so easy. Ran in at speed. May have just had to change direction at the last second to get around his opponent. Came up, stuck both arms up, and they had the suction cups on the end, just got the grip and was never going to be getting away from him.
Matt Hamilman for goal number 3, directly in front, but with the breeze impacting him, sprays it way to the left.
Oh, we saw one of those in the first quarter, which I think he also sprayed to the left. It was his first shot of the day.
We'll excuse them today because it is windy and the wind has been a little bit fluky today. So a let off there for the Demons. Sam Martin charges out of the goal square with the kick in, which is aimed at Andrew Swan, who juggles the mark. A good grab there on the second attempt by Swan. He spots Mitch Hardy loose on the wing. Game is starting to open up. Hardy got a good shepherd there from Pake. He kicks it towards Corbett. It'll spill to Tom Fall at the back. Tom Fall off the left, misses to the left.
Never die wondering, will he?
Well, he was right to take the shot, but just the radar a little bit off for both sides as we approach the 18-minute mark of this second quarter. The kick-in has taken Redland beyond defensive 50. Lucas Moline takes Caelan Baker over the boundary line, and it'll be thrown in near half forward for Canberra.
He's been one of the best for the Bombers side today. Really has put in some effort. Not necessarily all reflected on the stats sheet either. Caelan Baker only showing at 7 disposals, 4 kicks and 3 hand passes, but he's been really in there. Just trying to find out what his tackle count is for today. It's only showing 1, but he's been really in there and thereabouts through the course of the afternoon. Plenty of effort. Ball inside the forward 50 for the Demons, but it's kicked away once again by the Bombers into the path of Christensen. It's got past him, but it's picked up now by Sol Cormack. Oh, that's a good little ball from him onto Thompson. Thompson, hand pass back to Christensen, spins the 360 to get around Martin, puts it in towards the full forward, and the mark is taken once again by Matt Hamilman. He's on a very difficult angle, but again, he's dobbed one from here earlier today, hasn't he?
I wouldn't want to be playing on Matt Hamilman this afternoon, and he's not the big, he's not the Tony Lockett, Jonathan Brown style full forward. He's got a bit more pace. He looks pretty agile, a difficult player to play against.
He's more the Gary Ablett senior style.
And he's looking for goal number 3.
He's so mobile and has those short bursts of speed. Right foot needs to get on the check side. Instead, it stays straight, and I think it's just crept in. And you can see where it's just crept in. The goal umpire giving us enough of indication that it's just inside the posts. And it's a minor score. Redland 4-9, Canberra 9-4, and that translates to a 25-point difference. And Canberra in no real hurry to bring it back in. Highmore was looking to see if anyone else wanted to take the kick in. In the end, he goes short and finds Mitch Maguire. Maguire can settle here. He's got Harry Carr in short, spots him, Carr gets the grab, gets a little push after he's taken the mark, may have overplayed it a little, try and draw a 50. He'll come back just inside the 50 and take the kick. Doesn't even come back into the field of play. Sends it back in now, looking for Corbett. Oh, good grab. Good grab from Hardy. Just sticks the arms up and then he has the vision to see Mitch Maguire there. Maguire, 50 games and moving. That goes three bounces and then in towards Fall, in full forward fall. He can't get it. It juggles. It goes to ground. He picks it up. He's tossed it towards somebody waiting for it. There's too many red and black jumpers in there. It's been pulled in, pops out, pulls back in. Pulled in by a Canberra player over the top. I think it might have been Swan who pulled it back in. It's still around. It's still free. If a Canberra player can get a foot to this, they'll get a goal. Instead, the Bombers realise, yeah, maybe we could just backtrack here and get it out of play and concede the point. Canberra to 9-6, 60 off the rushed behind. And we've got something down there. What have you spotted?
Well, we can't have a score review, but the goal umpire just waiting on the all clear from the field umpire, and now she officially signals that that is a behind for the Canberra Demons.
All right, so it'll come back into play. Short ball there from Yagmore, and he finds Christensen. He's got a couple there. They nearly spoil each other to Miller and McGannon, but it was Miller who wound up with it. Taken on the half volley by Cormack. He's been good for the Bombers today. And on this occasion, yeah, you give a guy a rap and that's what happens. Can't get the kick away. Tackled in the process, and it'll wind up with Sam Martin. Martin goes across field, and he finds it in towards, oh, surprise, surprise, Alex Mout. Disposal number 35 coming up for him as he goes across field. And he gets it onto Bud. Bud with the short ball to Baker, who's closing in on 30 now, Eddie.
He's had a good quarter, Angus Baker. I think he's going to prove my prediction wrong as the ball ends up with Guy Richardson just outside 50. Puts it on the right foot to the top of the goal square. Alex Paik is there. Tom Fall has fallen, and Paik takes the mark.
Tom Fall pushed somebody out of the way in there, rolled the dice. I think it was Cast that he just cleaned up. I don't think there were hands in the back. He just came in body-to-body contact, and that cleared the way for Paik to take the grab.
And Alex Paik, who's been playing forward in this quarter, often plays in defence. The left foot kick from the top of the goal square is a goal. The Demons have 10. They're now out by 36 points. 32 points. I added an extra goal when the scoreboard was in fact ahead of me. But a little bit of breathing space now for the Canberra Demons. They're 10-5, 65. Redland still stuck on 4-9, 33. And inaccurate kicking in this quarter from Redland. They've kicked 3 behinds. Up the other end, the Demons have kicked 3 goals, 3.
And 7 goal scorers for the Canberra Demons. We talk about this. It is one of the strengths of this side when they really get a roll on. That they have a platoon who can score out there, and that is working well for them once again this afternoon. Now, Malone is off. I can tell you that because he's standing waiting to come back on, but he hasn't been able to get back on in time. And so that may open things up just a little bit for Maynard in the ruck contest on this occasion. He goes on up against Mills and gets the better of it and picks it up off the turf and is immediately tackled. So there'll be another ball up happening. Again, yeah, so the centre circle, we didn't notice this in the first half, Eddie, so I'm not sure what happened. Because
maybe they moved it at half-time.
Well, possibly. They got out there, snuck out and dug up the whole centre square.
Well, we were busy eating pies and so on.
Yeah, indeed. The ball is still in dispute at the moment. It comes out towards Maguire, who is also closing in on 30 disposals. So he had a very, very big third quarter. Very high kick. Waiting underneath it there was Bud. Also there was Batoli Simmons, and the skipper for the Redland Bombers takes it, turns it around, sends it up towards half forward. Underneath it is Curry. He's had a much more involvement in the game in this third quarter. Ball is juggled around, goes to ground, and it may wind up going to the Bombers' advantage if Thompson can get hold of it. He does. Pops it around. They go back outside the forward 50 now with Cast. Cast sends it in towards full forward, but there's too many Canberra jerseys in there, and it's Mitch Maguire taking the mark in the depths of defence for Canberra. Is it Smout again?
Yeah.
Oh, it is too. And Smout, he just goes for a bit of a run here. Well, he's done everything else today. He may as well. And that is, I think we can put that down in old-fashioned football terms as a clanger, Eddie.
So Smout's turned it over, and that creates a chance for Redland because Caleb Franks has taken a mark right on the paint of 50. Probably too far out to score with the way the breeze is. So he just feeds the hand pass off. Now the kick comes into the pocket. Aaron Bruce came from the back, but taking the mark. Looks like that might be Cameron Spence in the pocket. Or, in fact, I think it's Sol Cormack.
It's Cormack, yeah.
So Sol Cormack on a very tight angle will try and kick his first and try and kickstart the Bombers' second half. They're yet to kick a goal since half-time.
I could tell you it wasn't Cameron Spence because he's actually on the interchange bench and just coming off the bench right in front of us now.
So Sol Cormick on a tight angle in the right forward pocket. A little bit of a stuttering approach. The right foot kick looks like it's going across the face for a behind. So 4 goals, 10 now Redland. That's 4 behinds for them in this quarter. The Demons remain 10-5 at 65, and they've got a fairly comfortable 31-point buffer.
It is the less protected end they're kicking to, the Armanica pool end, or the left of your screen. And it is not easy. Canberra have a 6-goal lead, or close enough to it, and they'll need every bit of that in this last quarter.
You make an interesting point, Chris, because that new media centre, which was introduced for international cricket, which sits at the Armanica end of the ground, does now create additional protection, which did not used to be there, and to some extent changes the shape of Aussie rules games at Armanica Oval.
Does indeed. So all is not yet lost. If Redland can bag 1 or 2 in this third term, then they'll be a little bit more comfortable coming in the chase in the last term. That was Owen Orban with the kick, looking downfield, trying to find Swan, but the ball wins the race to the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in, true centre wing position at Armanica, far side of the ground. So as I was saying, the centre square, it's about 10 metres over towards that side of the ground. I think they're starting to prepare the cricket pitches for summer, Eddie, so they'll obviously for local grand finals and so on want the centre of the centre circle and the centre ground. But otherwise, I think we're stuck with this for the remainder of the season. Cutting the ball off in defence for Canberra now was Bruce. He's got plenty of players there. Angus Baker is one of them. Instead, he goes for a bit of a run, gets around the traffic and sends the ball back up the line of the centre square. Too many red and black jerseys in there. And that was actually a pretty good mark taken. And it was Stallard who had the mark. Now they come across field, switch it over to the protected grandstand side. McGannon has it. He can stop and wait for a moment for a teammate. He's got a teammate now. And that man is Christensen. Christensen goes in towards the centre of the park. There's a couple of players he could go to. The one that he wound up with, I think, was Keneally, sending it into full forward once again. But again, it's too much from Canberra. Riley Budd was the man who flew. Put it down. It wound up in the path of Spence. Spence then offloads and he finds, was that...
It was our mate again, I think.
Was our mate again, Hamilman, was it? Well, he's had a big day, but he's into the woodwork there. And it's another point for Redland, 4-11-35. Canberra 10-5-65. So it's exactly 5 goals, or 30 points the difference, which is half the margin that these sides had between them when they met in round 2 up in Queensland.
Mitch Maguire, the 50-gamer, has the ball in the back pocket, tries to take on the man on the mark and does it fairly successfully. Kicks well beyond the 50. It was towards Hardy and Maynard. Maynard slaps it forward. He slaps it over the boundary line and we'll get a boundary throw in that pocket of the ground again. We've gone 27 minutes in this third quarter. You make an interesting point, Chris, that a 5-goal margin with a breeze at your back is not insurmountable here at Armanica. So the Demons would be keen to add another 1 or 2 goals before the final break, just to give themselves a real comfortable buffer at 3-quarter time. At the moment, the ball's all locked up on the outer side of the ground. The umpire will come in and toss it up again in front of those tents. There's a big crowd around this particular ball up. The umpire will have to try and create a bit of space by throwing it up for Maynard and Malone. Malone with a decisive fist on it, and here's a chance for Redland to go inside 50 again. Coming out to meet it, though, is Aaron Bruce. Bruce gave it off by hand. It'll come now to Martin. Martin feeds it back to Bud. Bud has Baker nearby, but elects to kick it further than that.
Oh.
Bounced over the head of Connor Owen Orban. That lets in Sebastian Rogers for Redland, who goes with a centering ball towards Thompson. It bounced away from him. Vardaniga was there. It'll spill now Redland's way again. Tom Fall sits underneath it. That won't be 15.
I think it was also touched.
The umpire will ball it up 40 metres out from Redland's goal directly in front.
Great courage from Hardy in there as well. Came in, Mitch Hardy, to a situation that was never really going to offer much reward, and he wound up unceremoniously dumped in the back play. Ball in dispute, 30 out from the goals for the Bombers. Wait to see if anyone can come away with it, and it's a hurried kick. It only goes as far as Stallard. He actually can't control it. Now coming in over the top is Light for the Bombers, but the siren sounds. And this is an intriguing game as we've got 1 quarter to go. We have a 5-goal margin. Canberra 10-5-65. Redland 4-11-35. Redland kicked 5 points only in that quarter. Canberra kicked 3 goals, 2. So Canberra, they both had 5 scoring shots. But Canberra, they're going to be kicking into the wind, and we've seen kicking to the left of screen has been difficult today. Scoring end is most definitely the southern end, the Manuka end, the right of screen, and that's where the Redland Bombers will be going. Don't put this one down as game over just yet, Eddie.
Yeah, this game is a lot closer than you might think. If Redland can make the most of their opportunities in the final quarter, if they can start kicking straight, they will go a long way to getting themselves back into this contest. And who knows, we saw a draw last week at Phillip Oval.
Don't go there, don't go there.
We could be in for another grandstand finish at Manuka Oval. There won't be any shortage of opportunities for Redland based on what we've seen so far. It's just a matter of can they make the most of them. At the moment, it is Canberra in the box seat. They've kicked accurately. They're 10-5-65, and they go in with a 5-goal lead over Redland, 4-11-35.
Two minutes to go in the three-quarter time break, and we might just get our camera to shoot around and show you some of the other stuff that's going on here while the huddles break up. I mentioned this before, Eddie Williams, about the local games that are taking place around this NEAFL fixture, and there's Eastlake set to play Belconnen, and Eastlake in the local competition. You're seeing them now in the black jerseys, and if you get lucky, you might even see the black with the red EFC on the front, because they play as the Eastlake Demons. They're the parent club, or the major influencer, if you like, on this Canberra Demons side. So it's a little bit difficult when you've seen the Eastlake Demons playing in the black and red, and then suddenly the Canberra Demons come out in the black, in the blue and gold, up against the visiting side, the Bombers, in the black and red. it's just a little bit that the head's got to do. And they keep reminding us, because the Eastlake players were playing a first-grade game in the local comp after this match, keep coming out for kick to kick during the intervals. So you just got to keep doing the reset of the brain. I don't know whether it gets to you or whether it's just me because I'm getting old.
Oh, you've seen a bit more of Eastlake than I have, probably, Chris.
Possibly,
but we do have Eastlake and Belconnen in a number of games. I think they had a Rising Stars match earlier. There are men's and women's games being played here at Monica today. So a day out at the footy. Unfortunately, not the warmest weather conditions for it, but a good day at the footy for anyone who's here cheering on the Eastlake Demons and the Canberra Demons, and perhaps a couple of visiting Redland Bombers fans. Strap yourselves in. This could be a tighter finish than you might think. The Demons up by 5 goals, but Redland coming home with the wind. If they can just find their accuracy in this final quarter, they could really give the Demons a little bit of a scare. The leading disposal winner on the ground is Alex Smout with 36 disposals. A little bit quiet in that quarter. We only had 7. He needs to pick up his game in this final quarter. 10 marks for Alex Smout as well. 6 clearances, 4 inside 50s. He's had an outstanding afternoon. 26 disposals for Angus Baker, 25 for Mitch Maguire. The leading disposal winner for Redland is Stephen Mills. I beg your pardon, Scott Miller with 17 disposals. We're back in the middle. Maynard and Malone to get us underway in the final term.
In the other game, Sydney Uni leading the Gold Coast Suns deep into the second quarter by 47-12. Not the best result, but certainly a long way from the worst result for the Canberra side if it holds out in that way. Canberra bringing the ball away out from the middle and straight away going inside the forward 50. Who's underneath it? Pake's still up in the forward line, but we've got someone flying in across the pack to take the grab, and
might be Pollock, I think.
Is it Pollock? It is. So he's come in from
played on.
nowhere, and he's played on, takes the shot and gets it through. That's the start that Canberra would have been after, and they've just shown the Redland Bombers, who were unable to kick a goal to the northern end of this ground in the previous quarter, the way to do it. And perhaps they have now just done enough to really secure the win, and now it comes time to start to build on the percentage.
I know it's difficult to seal the game 45 seconds into the final quarter, but that certainly does give Canberra all the momentum. And just probably leaves the Redland side feeling a bit dispirited. They would have had a chat about at three-quarter time about starting this quarter well, about using the breeze. But Mitch Maguire with that opening clearance, getting the ball inside 50. Reece Pollock, a strong mark for a small man, playing on and kicking that goal. And the Demons now with all the momentum and a 36-point lead.
NEAFL live ladder, Sydney Uni have a percentage of 94. Canberra have a percentage of 82.2. So Canberra really need to slam on a few goals in this quarter to try and start closing that gap as the countdown to the NEAFL finals for 2019 continues. Ball back down in the middle of the park, and it will be play on. Neither ruckman was keen to get there. I think it might have been Stephen for the Bombers who put the kick towards their forward line. Maynard winds up with it, goes with a hand pass to Harper. Harper then sends it around to a teammate. It comes back to Harper, goes for the short pass on the outside. I reckon that might be Vardanica who has it for it now. Comes across onto the inside. Highmore has run up from the goal square. He's got it. He just settles things down a little bit there. Goes for a bit of a run around the outside of Monica. Sends the ball forward. Grab
Lucas
taken
Moline
by Moline. Now Moline can get set. He'll bomb long here. This will be interesting. Let's see what happens. The ball will drop off like a cliff about there. No, he's kept it under some sort of shelter, maybe from that two-storey structure there. So he got his full distance, but it comes off hands and it goes over. Boundary throw in. We haven't seen one over in front of the scoreboard since the second quarter, I think, Eddie, but we're back where we were in the first and second terms.
Yes, anyone sitting in the Jack Fingleton scoreboard would have had a good view of the game today. And, of course, normally it houses quite a number of people putting up the runs and the wickets when we see cricket played here at Monica. The Demons are inside 50 again. The kick comes towards full forward. It'll be turned over, though, and Redland just need to take the game on in this final term. Nothing to lose from their perspective, but they can try and be a bit of a thorn in the side of some of the higher-ranked teams in the NEAFL towards the back end of this season. The ball is in the hands of Clay Cameron. He kicks it inside 50. Hamilman has 2 to beat, and it's a tough ask. Matt Vardaniga's had a good game in defence. The ball now comes to Tom Highmore. Highmore just pokes it short there for Richardson, who goes inboard and spots up Moline. Moline looks to play on pretty quickly. He flicks the hand pass over the top. The game has opened up a lot in this second half. As the Demons go inside 50, the mark's taken in the pocket. Might be Mitch Hardy out there. It is. He goes short to Andrew Swan, who marks on the chest. And Andrew Swan can go back and try and kick another last quarter goal.
We talked a bit about Swan last week, and how he really loves playing footy for this club and spent so long out of it with injuries. But great to see him back, and he's got one already today, Ed.
And he's been in excellent form for someone who hadn't played, and obviously he had been playing local footy for at least a week or two before making his return to the NEAFL. But for someone who spent more than a year out with an Achilles injury, an ACL injury, he is performing well. Can he kick another goal? Unfortunately not. He's sprayed it out to the right. But he gets the margin beyond that 6-goal mark. The Demons 11-6, 72. Redland 4-11, 35. And Redland with a quick kick in, get the ball into the back pocket.
When you more than double the opposition score in the last quarter, you can usually start to feel pretty good about things. Aaron Christensen has the ball for the Bombers, though. A couple of quick goals and it changes the equation. He's looking for someone. He's looking for a target. There are a precious few of them. Finally, he gets one open up for him in the shape of Spence. Doesn't do a great deal for them position-wise. He's still on the defensive 50. Will kick from just outside it. Has on his own near the interchange gates Miller. I wonder whether Miller was actually coming off and then decided, hang on, I can turn this field position to my advantage by taking the mark, and then spilling the easy one was Clay Cameron. But running behind him was Spence, who had the kick earlier, sends it back into the centre of the ground. But there's, again, it's all blue and gold. It comes back now to Angus Baker, and I reckon that's possession number 28 for him for this afternoon. So he'll get his 30 this afternoon, Eddie. Sorry about your prediction going west. The side, give it back to him. In fact, Baker puts the ball in towards Tom Fall. Fall in the front of the pack, but he can't. The ball goes over his head. It's still there with now Tom Fall. He gets a hand pass away. Is it Swan in there getting the kick underneath? It was. He sends it around, but there's too many defenders in there. They clear it to the Bombers. Now it's with Baker. Coleman Baker for the Bombers. Goes around the grandstand side, waiting underneath it. Had to sit there and park was Hamilman. What's he doing up there? He's a long way from home. They'll have to find someone else to kick a goal for them if they can get it there. The ball goes forward, courtesy of Reville. And Reville, well, he had Keneally in short, may have been a better option because in the end, too many Canberra Demons players at the back line, and Aaron Bruce, the captain, managed to take the mark and play on around the outer side of the ground where it'll go once again to Mitch Maguire.
There was no one for Bruce Reville to kick to. He needed to either wait for an option or look for someone on shorter because, as we say, Matt Hamilman had pushed so far up the ground that their normal marking target was not there, and that was an easy kick for the two Canberra Demons defenders to chop off. The ball comes towards the wing. Moline might have gotten a hand on it, but Redland take the crumb, so an opportunity for them to run forward. The ball then came straight to Angus Baker. Now it's with Mitch Hardy. Hardy gets around one. He goes with a kick inboard for he's turned it over, in fact. Turned it over straight to Bruce Reville, the man who turned it over before on his way into Redland's forward line. Here's a chance for Jai Keneally, who kicks to the goal square. It'll bounce for Hamilman, and this time he kicks the goal.
He's missed a couple of easy ones today, but that one turned around on the run, over the shoulder, and through for a major.
3 goals for Matt Hamilman, a score off a turnover there for Redland, and maybe just a little bit of a pulse for the Bombers in the final quarter. They're back within 31 points. It
was ironic before that Reville had it, and the kick was cut off. When I said he could have gone short to Keneally, who was the man who Reville went to longer there to set it up for the full forward in Hamilman. It was that man, Jai Keneally. So footy's a funny old game at times. Now, I saw Tom Fall come off a few minutes ago, and he was being worked on down near the dugout for Canberra, and he's still sitting there in the dugout. Well, just keep an eye on him over there. I'm not suggesting there's anything nasty awry with him, but he was certainly deep in conversation with one of the trainers, Eddie, so I might leave you to keep an eye on the game for a minute and not just keep an eye on Fall and just see what happens here as once again it's the Bombers with the ball and they're going on the burst here. I'll come back to you in a second, Ed, because it's in the hands now of Batoli Simmons, and he goes for a shot from just inside 50. It's off target and through for a point to the left.
So a missed opportunity there off a quick break from the centre clearance. They have kicked poorly today, Redland. 5-12 at 42. Canberra 11-6, 72. The same number of scoring shots for these two sides, but the Demons a lot more accurate. And that's helped them to a 5-goal lead as Tom Highmore goes with a very long kick. Corbett crashed the pack. The ball came off hands. The ball will go over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in front of those orange seats, and there's a pocket of quite brave fans sitting out there in the unsheltered part of Manuka Oval in those orange seats. It is a good spot to watch footy when the weather is just slightly warmer. The ball will be thrown back in. Malone was in front of Maynard. Malone knocked it down. Maynard tried to slap it away. It was hacked forward by Maguire. The ball carried through the contest, and now things will open up for the Canberra Demons. The kick comes inside 50. Swan takes the mark. Andrew Swan plays on, runs into the open goal. 2 goals for Andrew Swan, and this time he might have sealed the deal.
Canberra move on to 78. 12 goals, 6, 78. Redland 5, 12, 42. Now, I'm not saying, I don't wish to cause distress for Canberra Demons fans, but Tom Fall is still down there on the bench. Now, he hasn't moved as they've rung the changes, and they're bringing 3 players back on. There's Evans coming back on, Harper's coming back on, and Martin's coming back on. Maybe he's still down there for an extended rest.
Yeah, he's just sitting there. He's not receiving any particular attention at the moment.
He was in deep conversation with a trainer a moment ago, and now
again with perhaps one of the managers. Look, it is late. It is later in the game, and if there's a slight issue at this point with a 6-goal lead and with your opponent having only scored 5 goals so far, not worth taking any risks, but we'll keep an eye as to whether Tom Fall comes back onto the ground in this final term.
Indeed we will, but as you mentioned, a 6-goal break at the moment, 36 points the margin, 78 to 42, and Canberra, well, they're really looking to put the accelerator down. Maynard with a soccering kick off the ground into the path of Osborne. Osborne, he's got an opposition player in his grasp now. Couldn't tell you who it was because he's just grabbed him from behind and completely wrapped him up. The umpire says, well, there was no real chance to get clear of it. I think it might have been Stephen that he got there. Now the ball taken from the secondary ball up by Malone, and Malone sends it in forward. Underneath it is Hamilman. He's too far out to score, but he's got a couple of options. One of them was Coleman Baker, and it's that man who gets the ball, loses the ball, and tries to keep it under some sort of control. I think it may have been Baker to Baker there. Yep, delivery of the bread happening here at the half-back as the ball is then sent back in towards the centre of the ground for the Canberra Demons. And Rogers tries to pick it up for the Bombers, and the umpire says, well, no one's getting away with anything there. We'll come back in.
Tom Fall looks to be getting ready to head back onto the ground.
So that's certainly some good news there for Canberra Demons fans. We'll see how he goes as he returns to the field of play. Maynard tries to pick it up after the ball's pinged around a little bit in the follow-up to the ball up. But he can't get through, and another ball up to happen. Outside the centre square. We're actually almost in the true centre of Manuka Oval here this afternoon now. Ball goes to Canberra's advantage. That's the middle of the ground where they are right now, if you're curious. Breaking 3 is Stephen. Goes via right foot into the forward line, but again, there's too many Canberra players in there. And that's Bruce taking the mark, unopposed. Goes around the far side of the ground. He gives it to Smout. Smout won't get to the 50 disposals he was on target for today, but he should make it to 40. He's well into the 30s now. That time cut off by, is it Yagmore? It is. He has it for the Bombers. Comes around the outer wing side of Manuka. Flying was Bruce. He couldn't do anything. The punch winds up with Thompson. Thompson gets a short ball onto Coleman Baker again. He has had a very busy second half, Coleman Baker. Loses control of the pill. Coming to clean up is Sam Martin for the Canberra Demons. Ball is high in the air and a long way over the boundary line. It's out on the full. The Bombers will bring it back in just forward of the wing.
The move of Aaron Bruce into defence for most of this game has proven to be a pretty good one, I think. For the Canberra Demons, he's been able to come off his man and go third man up at a lot of contests, and perhaps with Corbett and Hardy and Fall and Carr all firing in the forward line, we'll see more of Aaron Bruce in defence for Canberra in the back end of this season. Here's a chance for Redland, but the ball goes out of bounds on the full. They just have not taken their opportunities when they've had them. They haven't had a shortage of opportunities, Redland. They lead the inside 50s, 47, or in fact 48 now to 35. They just have not been able to convert their opportunities in front of goal, and that's allowed Canberra to take a pretty comfortable lead in the final term. Williams was at the back of that pack, but it should spill the Canberra Demons' way for the time being. The ball's all locked up. We'll get another ball up between wing and half forward for Redland, as the big ruckman, Craig Malone, is slow to get to his feet, and he'll be pretty slow to get to this contest. In fact, I'm not sure he will get to the contest. He's going to try and get off the ground. He's heavily favouring one leg. He stays on the ground, but we'll just keep an eye on Craig Malone as well. Hardy got the hand pass out to Harper. Harper throws it on the right boot, kicks it beyond the wing. Will it stay in play? It doesn't. It bounced over the boundary line. So a Redland free kick. Couple of whistles going on here. The player perhaps wasn't correctly behind his mark.
Oh, that's bad news for Malone. He's now being assisted off by a trainer in back play. It's his left leg that he can't put any weight on at all. He really does seem to be struggling. Interesting, he's got a big shin guard under his No, he's got a shin guard under his left sock, and it's his right leg that he can't put any weight on. So,
pretty standard for a ruckman to have a shin guard under one of their socks. But yeah, this is not good news at all for the NEAFL's leading ruckman, the man who has more hitouts in this competition.
I just thought it was the leg that he was actually leaning on that he'd injured, but no, it's the other one. So anyway, play continues, and the Bombers have the ball as they go into attack once again. But there's just too many Canberra players there. Bud winds up spilling the coffee all over the place, and it goes onto the ground, into the path of Clay Cameron, and Cameron takes the shot, but it goes away for a point. Oh, it's a real case of missed opportunities here this afternoon, and you'll see why when I read you the scoreboard. Canberra, 12-6. That's 18 scoring shots. They have 78. Redland, 5-13. That's 18 scoring shots. They have 43.
Tom Fall's still on the bench. He looks like he's been getting ready to come back on, but yet to re-enter the playing field for the Canberra Demons.
Oh, he's keen as. No one's been near him.
The ball's off hands. It's over the boundary line. We'll get another throw in between wing and half forward for Redland as we see Alex Smout and Aaron Bruce coming to the bench for Canberra. Matt Vardaniger and Mitch Maguire come back on. Andrew Swan's running off as well. That will allow Tom Fall back onto the field of play. So we'll see how he goes as he jogs back to the Canberra forward line. The ball at the moment in the Redland forward line. Guy Richardson just throws it on the boot, kicks it towards the wing. Yagmore was there. The ball is off hands again and over the boundary line. So another stoppage, another boundary throw in front of those orange seats. And I think those fans in the orange seats getting a bit vocal in the past few moments. They've been seeing plenty of footy on that side of the ground. It's Canberra holding on to a 35-point lead. We've gone nearly 15 minutes in the final quarter. Maynard winning the hit out fairly decisively there. Couldn't find a teammate initially. The ball will spill out Redland's way to Phil Cast, the playing coach, who belts it inside 50 to the goal square. What can Hamilman do against Highmore? Well done by Highmore to break even on that occasion. The ball's over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in the forward pocket for Redland.
Yeah, Highmore just planted the studs and was anchored to the ground. Hamilman really had to go to try and move him, but couldn't get anywhere. So the ball has gone out for a throw in, but a few of the vocal fans on the far side giving the boundary umpire some encouragement as the snapshot comes from out of the middle of the pack. Now, I've got no idea. It just came from nowhere, that shot on goal. And it has gone through for a major, so Redland going to 6-13-49. Canberra 12-6-78. It's been awarded to Mills. So Stephen Mills gets his first for the afternoon. And the second for the final term for the visiting side. But they have a lot of work to do with 16 minutes gone in this final term. They trail still by nearly 5 goals. It's a 29-point margin.
They've looked not bad at all today, Redland. After that initial period of play where the Demons kicked the first 4 goals, Redland settled back into the game. They got within 2 points at one stage in the second quarter. They've been there or thereabouts. They're really going to rue some missed opportunities on their flight back to Queensland when they head home this evening. Maynard knocked it down to Maguire, who put it out into the path of Evans. Evans had Harper in support. He gave it off. Harper kicks, well, it was probably intended for Hardy, but the wind took that one in a different direction, and Stephen Mills, the goal kicker, ends up with the footy for the Bombers. He just pokes it short towards the boundary line. It'll be interesting to see how Redland approaches the final few minutes of this game. Do they try and take the game on and get a few more goals, or do they just play a steadier game style? It was Christensen who went inboard, and then the kick came out towards McGannon. There's a contest. Tom Fall is there. He's tackled. We will get a ball up. Good to see Tom Fall back in the contest. Doesn't appear to be showing any visible signs of any issues. Connor Owen Orban just a little slow to get up after that contest, but he appears to be all good. It's thrown back up. Maynard knocks it down. It came out to Smout. Now Maguire bursts his way through. One of his better games for this season so far, Mitch Maguire. His kick found Harry Carr. Maguire with 29 disposals in game number 50. Carr kicks it long towards full forward. Who's there? It's off hands. It's into the behind post, and we'll get a boundary throw in the pocket for Canberra.
Yeah, just remember this Redland side last year, they only won 1 game in all of 2018. Came out at the start of this season and picked up a good win against this Canberra side back in round 2. They have struggled a wee bit since then, but they've eclipsed last year's winning record by picking up another win. They would have thought they were a chance coming down here today, but this Canberra side with plenty of desperation and at this stage still a comfortable margin on the scoreboard. 18 minutes gone, ball's back in the middle of Manuka Oval. We've got a whistle for a hold and it's going to go Canberra's way. And it comes back to a guy, Richardson. Richardson, he goes backwards for his side to go forward. And it's another kick for Highmore. And he'll get a secondary chance to add to his stats here, as Canberra have been able to turn things into a bit of kick-to-kick. Angus Baker with a shorthand pass. Now they go into the forward line once again. Hardy has it. Too far out to score. Yegmore, the man standing on the mark, and Hardy in the end decides to go back. If they're quick across the park here, Sam Martin's all on his own across the other side of the goal square, but I think Canberra have decided it's a chance to boost the statistical numbers a wee bit. Hardy's got it again.
But also a chance to just take a few seconds off the clock, a few minutes off the clock, and every moment that Canberra has the ball just makes it less and less and less likely that Redland can do anything to try and win.
No, indeed. Very hard for the opposition to score if they don't have the pill, but they do have it at the moment, the Bombers, and it's a shorthand pass from Thompson. Thompson gets it on to another man going around the square, but again, it'll be Canberra sitting here waiting. Underneath it is Bruce. He can't take the mark, so the Bombers might get another crack at it. They do. Coming in towards Thompson, spins around. He can go for the shot. Instead, he puts it. That hasn't gone 15, and running through underneath it is Cormac. Cormac tries to play on, can't do anything with it. Ball comes free. Ball goes back into the pack. Umpire will ball it up 48 from goal for the Bombers at the southern end of Manuka.
The shops end, the
shops
new media centre end,
yes.
The Manuka end. Plenty happening at that.
You've been into that new media centre yet?
I haven't actually, have you?
Spoke to a couple of the cricket guys last summer. They thought it was fantastic.
I've heard good things, also used for some corporate things and so on, particularly during AFL season when we don't have as much need for a media centre behind the goals. Most of the media would be on the wing. But a good facility, one that caused a bit of controversy among local residents in the inner south of Canberra. But good to see some upgrades here at Manuka Oval. Maybe one day we'll get a permanent scoreboard. I've been banging on about that for years.
Permanent video screen.
We've got a scoreboard.
We've got a wonderful scoreboard.
Yes, a permanent replay. A big screen. A big screen is what we'd like. Alex Smout approaching the 40 disposal mark.
That's 39.
A high up and under ball, and it's well marked. Might be Lucas Moline out there who's taken that mark. It is Moline. He's called to get things moving on. He's just going to go long down the line to a contest. Corbett was in front. He was probably too far in front, and the ball goes over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in between wing and half forward for Canberra. We're into time on. We've gone nearly 21 minutes. It's the Demons holding a 29-point lead, and they're looking to ice the game over the next 10 minutes or so. Alex Paik in ruck. They've got a lot of ruck options as second-string ruckmen. Swan, Carr, Paik, even Tom Fall, Riley Corbett have all spent time in the ruck at various moments this season. Of course, Josh Maynard is the preferred ruckman. We did see in one game when they was thrashed by Aspley a couple of weeks back, the Demons took two ruckmen with Luke Jamison lining up as well. I think their preferred option is to play Josh Maynard as the strike ruckman and use a combination of the other taller players as his backup. The ball's inside 50 again. Corbett in a good position, can't drag down the mark because Adrian Williams, who's been the best and fairest at Redland over the past couple of seasons, has had another pretty good game today. He takes a strong mark there. He goes short, and Redland will look to create something off the half-back flank.
A couple of numbers to note here. Canberra, with Smout getting his 40th disposal a moment ago, he has 22 kicks for today. Baker has 20 kicks for a total of 34 disposals. Maguire has 21 kicks for a total of 32 disposals. So you've got 22, 20 and 21 kicks apiece there. The Redland side at the moment have just two players with a total with 20 disposals in total here. It shows that kind of dominance that Smout, Baker and Maguire have had for Canberra this afternoon.
And important for the Demons because last week they drew that match without Maguire, who was out injured with a hamstring issue, and without Baker, who was a late omission due to injury as well. So good to see their midfielders getting back into it. And Maguire hadn't had the best start to the season compared to the way he was playing last year for Canberra. He'll be really pleased to have not only had a lot of the ball, but to have had a significant impact. And I reckon his clearance work, well, you look at the stats, he has had 11 clearances. He's the winning clearance winner on the ground, and he's really excelled in game number 50 today. Mitch Maguire. Redland, another inside 50 entry that doesn't go the way they would have liked. It bounces over the boundary line. Jai Keneally couldn't get there in time to keep it in play. We'll get a throw in inside 50 for Redland. It'll be Paik to go up in ruck again for Canberra. He'll be up against, looks like it might be Mills, I should say, going up in ruck for the Redland Bombers as it comes back into play. Probably cleared Paik and Mills in the end. Hardy got a hand to it. But Redland able to control the ball. Oh, great pressure there by Mitch Hardy. That lets Bruce in. Bruce gives it back to Hardy. Hardy hand passes forward to Moline. Moline will have one bounce. He gives it off to the man running past in Harry Carr, who crosses the 50, runs to 30, fires it, goal. And he's put it through.
The goal umpire. Who says there's no suspense with the goal umpire anymore? She kept us thinking for a moment there. That's terrific stuff from Harry Carr. He just put the foot to the floor and away he went.
I think I owe Sam Martin a big apology.
Why?
It was Sam Martin with that goal.
Oh, you're kidding.
They're both in the long sleeves and the white boots today, but Sam Martin, a great running effort. He nails his first of the afternoon.
And well done to Sam Martin. He doesn't get too many, so he will enjoy that one.
Yes, he's jogged back to the back line now. And that really does ice the game from a Canberra perspective. They're now out by 35 points, and throughout the second half, they've been able to keep this sort of 5-goal buffer in play. So the playing coach, who's not playing for the rest of the season, Cade Klemke, will be pretty happy with the way his side has controlled this match. I think still things to work on, because more accurate kicking from Redland could have made this a much more even contest, but the Demons will be pretty pleased to take away the 4 points today. They
will indeed. 24 and a half gone. And Canberra have put 3 goals on in this last quarter. Redland have put 2 on, so we've still got another couple of minutes left, you would imagine, as the afternoon progresses here. But Canberra, well, they're not done yet. They're looking for a few additional points. They'd love to get the 100, but require 3 goals before the end of the afternoon. Paiku's moved up forward from the standing start. Oh, my goodness me! He's drilled it from 46 metres on no step at all.
Well, 2 goals on the afternoon from Alex Paik. We often see him in defence. He moves forward. Sometimes he's been in the ruck. He's a very versatile tool, and he showed his versatility there off one step. Not the prettiest kick in the world, but if it's a goal, it's a goal.
He's kicked that. He's just turned, pivoted, swung the leg at it in a fairly unorthodox fashion. Let's go with that. And I reckon it was almost post-high when it went through. It sort of went up across, like one of those bell curve graphs you see in a boring economics lecture, and it's just fallen away across the line.
He kicked it like a parabola, but he cleared the line. He judged it nicely on the, well, I don't know if he judged it on the breeze, but it went through on the breeze, and that's all that matters for Alex Paik and the Canberra Demons. And suddenly it's a 41-point lead, and this is a percentage booster now for Canberra.
Great commentary from Eddie Thesaurus Williams as the ball was brought out of the centre by it's by Mitch Maguire. Maguire sends it across into the path of Smout, but Smout can't get there. There's plenty of options for Canberra at the moment. Everyone wants to get onto the score sheet now, and why wouldn't you? And the chances like this don't come along too often, too high in the contest there, so it'll wind up being with the Redland Bombers. Baker is the option infield. They don't go that way. They're going to go, which way is he going to go? The short hand pass instead from Mills. Now they come back up the wing, and that may have just gone out on the full. I saw one of the Canberra players signal this is going out, but the umpire says it's bounced just in, so it'll be a throw-in again, centre wing position. The spectators who were braving the elements have decided enough is enough, and they've decided to retreat to a more sheltered part of the ground now this afternoon as the chilly conditions continue. I don't think the apparent temperature has gone above 0 all afternoon, Eddie. I think it's been sub-0 courtesy of the wind chill all Saturday afternoon here at Canberra. 41 points the difference, 27 minutes gone in the final term, and it's once again with Canberra. The Redland side starting to suffer courtesy of the injury to their primary ruckman. Bud puts the ball inside 50 for the Demons. It bounces around a couple of times, cleared away for just a moment, but there's just too much blue and gold. It comes back to Bud. He turns around, he's looking for Maguire. It goes past him, instead it's Pollock who has it. Pollock then finds that man Smout. Smout sends it inside the forward 50, goes over the head of Moline. Moline turns around and he tries to get there. It says it's Tom Fall who comes through. Apologies for only calling the Canberra players, but they're always the player in front at the moment. Now it finally comes clear for... No, it doesn't come clear for Redland. It goes back into the pack, and the ball will be bounced by or tossed up by the umpire. 60 out from the goal at the Manuka swimming pool end.
As Reece Pollock asks a few questions of the umpire, but the umpire pretty content to just come in and throw the ball up. And you make a good point, Chris, that the injury to Craig Malone does seem to have opened things up for Canberra late in this quarter, with Maynard able to get a few hit-outs, having been pretty comprehensively dominated in the ruck by Craig Malone. Here is a great solo effort that sees the ball come inside 50 for Canberra, but the kick was was not the best one. It ends up with Petty Yagmore eventually. He kicks Redland out of trouble for the time being.
Oh.
Great play by Guy Richardson. Socketed it to himself with a little toe poke. Gave it back to Vardaniga, who spotted someone on his own in the pocket. It was Andrew Swan. The kick just missed him. And we'll get a boundary throw in inside 50 for Canberra. 28.5 minutes gone in the final term. The Demons with 4-2 in this quarter, so perhaps still a couple of minutes left on the clock and a chance for Canberra to ram home their advantage and really try and catch up with Sydney Uni on percentage on the NEAFL ladder as we get towards the pointy end of the season. The throw-in probably missed the two ruckmen in the end, just cleared them. Aaron Bruce with a good spoil there. That saw the ball spill out to Smout, who couldn't hold on to it. Cormick was getting in as well for Redland. It came to Osborne for Canberra. His hand pass couldn't find a target. Barging his way through was Maguire. He coughed it up to Reville. Reville tried to give it off to his teammate there in Cormick, but Smout got in there to try and intercept. This is turnover after turnover. Eventually, Phil Cast, the playing coach, wins a clear possession and spots a target inside 50 in the hands of Curry. Curry decides to pass it off to Matt Hamilman, and who else would you pass it to?
Well, they're just waiting for the Hamilman to fall, and the shot will be taken here, and this may be just about it for this afternoon. I can't imagine there's too much time left. Canberra will be happy with this. Plenty of players back into form here. Smout, I reckon this is possibly the best game he's played for the Demons. But Maguire back into form. Baker, Angus Baker, also in form. Plenty of support from Hardy and Harper as well.
Hamilman's nailed his 4th goal. Not too much excitement from the Redland players, but a great performance today, you've got to say, by Matt Hamilton. He's certainly been their focal point up forward. 4 more goals for him for the season, and that just trims the margin back to 35 points.
4 goals out of 7 for this afternoon to Hamilman. Who else has been out there as big players for the Demons, for the Bombers rather?
And Miller's been pretty good today with 23 disposals, 7 clearances, 6 inside 50s.
Keneally's had a good afternoon. Spence had a good afternoon. The other player, and he's underrated on the stats sheet, is Baker. He only comes up with 7 kicks and 4 handballs, but he's been in absolutely everything. He's been close for mine to their best this afternoon, Coleman Baker.
And Craig Malone, a dominant effort in the ruck until he went off injured. 44 hitouts. To put that into perspective, Josh Maynard for Canberra has just the 22 hitouts, and overall in that stat, Redland up 50-30 in the hitouts. They're ahead in the clearances just by 2. They're ahead in the inside 50s, but they're well behind on the scoreboard. As Maynard gets a free kick in the middle, he kicks towards half forward. Hardy's trying to run onto it. It just bounced away from it at the crucial moment, and that lets Redland just run the ball out of defence. They'll go through the middle of the ground with a kick that went over the head of Clay Cameron. Now coming in is Reville, who I think has been pretty solid in his debut match for the Redland Bombers, originally from Harvey Bay and recruited from the Lions Academy. Redland racking up a few disposals late in the game. A good tackle there by Guy Richardson. Tom Falls hoping that the ball will spill out. It won't, or it might just yet. Fall knocked the hand pass back. The umpire just letting play go on here. Moline fired the hand pass out towards Carr, who goes back into the corridor for Richardson, who looks up, looks inside 50, looks for Andrew Swan or Riley Corbett. In the end, he kicked it in between them. And Redland will be able to get out of defence through the playing coach, Phil Cass. Goes
around the grandstand side, chasing in underneath it is Thompson, gets there, spins around to his right, stays just in the field of play. Who's he got up forward? Cormick is the man who's there, but in front, playing in front was Kel Evans. There was plenty of push and shove going on in there as well. And so it will be, it's not Evans, it's Sam Martin who has it. That's twice we've given him the wrong name this afternoon. He'll be after our blood later. Martin has it, and appropriately enough, he has the ball in his hands as he takes the kick just after the siren, gives it straight away to the boundary umpire and wraps it all up this afternoon. But a comprehensive victory in the end for this Canberra Demons side. They've extracted some measure of revenge over Redland for the 10-goal round 2 loss, but they've run out victorious this afternoon. 14-6, 90 to 7, 13, 55. 20 scoring shots apiece, but a 45-point difference.
And it really was their efficiency going forward for the Canberra Demons. They had fewer inside 50s. But just able to create 20 shots on goal each. 20 shots on goal for Canberra, 20 shots on goal for Redland. The Demons just kicked so much more accurately, 14 goals 6 to 7 goals 13. And a consistent performance by the Demons through this match. A 5-goal opening term, which set things up. A couple of goals against the Breeze in the second quarter. 3 goals to none in the third to take a strong advantage into the final break. and then a 4-goal effort against the Breeze in the final term. That's something Cade Klemke will be very happy about.
Indeed. The third quarter, a real problem for the Redland side this afternoon, while their opponents added 5 goals during the third term, 3 goals too during the third term. All Redland could manage were 5 behinds, and that really was the turning point for this game, or the end of any realistic resistance from the Bombers. Goal scorers for this afternoon. For the Bombers, it was Hamilman who led the way. He had 4 goals this afternoon. A couple of behinds in there as well. I'm just going to dig that up. I think I've got 4 goals.
4 goals, 7.
So more than a couple. 4 goals, 7 they've credited him with this afternoon.
Yeah, he could have had a real day out, Matt
Hamilman,
and he missed 3 shots in the first quarter, which really could have changed the face of the game. And you look at the second half where Canberra kicked 7 goals, 4. And Redland kicked 3 goals, 7, and you think what could have been from a Redland perspective.
Absolutely. Singles to Bartoli Simmons was one of the goals of the day. Stephen Mills and Clay Cameron, the other goal scorer for the Redland Bombers this afternoon. For the Canberra Demons, Harry Carr wound up with 3. Alex Pake and Andrew Swan with 2 apiece, as had Riley Corbett. And it was singles to Tom Falk, Kel Evans, Mitch Hardy, Reece Pollock, and Sam Martin. Congratulations on possibly the goal of the day for the Canberra Demons.
And he's definitely not the same person as Harry Carr, who kicked those 3. Look, Alex Smout, 45 disposals. You have to give him credit for that. 11 marks, 8 clearances, 6 inside 50s, 3 rebound 50s. I thought in his 50th game, Mitch Maguire probably had just as much impact as Alex Smout. 35 disposals for Maguire, 12 clearances, 4 inside 50s and 5 rebound 50s, starting to find the sort of form he had last season. 34 disposals for Baker, and Scott Miller was outstanding from a Redland perspective. 23 disposals, 6 marks, 4 tackles, 7 clearances, and 5 inside 50s.
Indeed. Not a great deal else that we need to throw out there this afternoon. I'll just have a quick check of the ladder impact and then come to you for your final thoughts, Eddie Williams. But the Canberra Demons, well, they've given their percentage a wee bit of a boost. It's up to 82.4. They will more than likely still be locked with Sydney Uni in a battle for 6th. And you can't write the Gold Coast Suns off out of that just yet. But it does seem that the top 5 is likely to be set, with it being the Lions, Southport, the Swans, Aspley and the Giants in the top 5. Then there's a game and a half break before Sydney Uni and the Canberra Demons are locked together, and well, that next game between Sydney Uni and the Canberra Demons may well wind up deciding the final berth in the top 6. Although the Gold Coast Suns would say we still have some say in this as well.
The Demons just need to keep on winning. They host the NT Thunder at midday next Saturday back at Phillip Oval, while Redland hosts Southport at 1:30 next Saturday afternoon.
We will do it all again next Saturday then, when the NT Thunder come to town. That's always fun when the Thunder come to town. This year they'll probably be a lot happier about the scheduling of the game, because in the past they've had some night games scheduled here in Canberra and played some very cold, very wet, very windy conditions. And despite the fact that today, as we've mentioned a few times, the apparent temperature has not crept above the 0 mark, courtesy of some considerable wind chill here this afternoon, we can at least on this occasion or next week say that it'll be a day game for the NT Thunder. So if nothing else, there might be a wee bit of sunshine around for them. Eddie Williams, always fun to call some footy with you. We'll do it again next week.
Looking forward to it.
That's Eddie Williams on behalf of Dan, our cameraman, everyone at the NEAFL and everyone at Bar TV. This has Chris Coleman signing off from Monica this afternoon, where it is the home side, the Canberra Demons, who've got up 14-6-90 to the Redland Bombers, 7-13-55.